Yeah, let's just go ahead and roll it. Oh, well, that's a good point to start. Axe is talking about the TTS test. Not a lot of comments. Just you and Loth. The view's still a little small, but it was just a test. I don't really know if there's a lot of market for search on Sushi Go, but yeah, hey, so we did a thing. We finally did it, and I was like, hey, we gotta do it. I mean, I'm looking at it. It's 32 views. I've had worse.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna plug it on both What's Up, and it's in the end card for Let's Talk FGO, so maybe we'll get some click-throughs. But anyway, it was just a test. That's what I like to do. I like to record tests, and then if they don't completely and utterly fuck up, if they're not utter garbo, and we're past the 30-second mark, so I think I can say that, we release them just so that people can see, and then if the next one's an improvement, they can, like, go back, whatever. Plus, it's like 15 minutes. The watch times are great on that. Anyway, hey, hi. We're doing What's Up. Before we get too much farther, I should probably remind you that this episode is brought to you by patrons like Ahiga Comics, Qua, Jeremy Vasquez, Kylie Denton, Nestor Flores, Sodasan 0424, and Video Gamer 75. And that if you like what we do and want to see us do more, you should consider supporting us on Patreon so you can get access to episodes early and lots of other goodies. And because it would really help us out.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, Axe, your volume is normal for me, so we would actually, I think you were boosted, so that might be something more on your end. I'm not sure. Well, audio's finicky, man.
Yeah, well, because in other stuff, we might actually finally be playing Eclipse Phase soon, so we'll have to see how it sounds on the sound end.
Yeah.
But also, that was completely unedited and untouched video. We did absolutely nothing to that. Well, also, we were talking over Discord, so there is, like, time lag. I've noticed that before when you listen to audio recordings, it sounds, to the recorded audio, it sounds like you're talking more simultaneously. We just had that conversation about lucky noises.
Mm-hmm.
But to us, we're like, no, I thought I finished what I was saying.
Yeah. Yeah, Omega does that. Max is saying, Omega overwhelmed me with him just going on the speeches and stuff. Yeah, Omega does that. Have you been listening to us? Omega likes to talk.
I don't know if I like to talk, but I do talk a lot. Oh, I just noticed your custom status. That's brilliant.
They're monster
Well, you
games.
better get used to it, because I am the games master. Anyway, I think the appropriate way to start this episode, though, is in the movie version of What's Up, there should be a smash cut grayscale flashback to about a week ago, where I want to say 90% certain that I said, oh, well, I did all those runs for Graf B, so hopefully my following week will be free of stuff, and I can watch some anime or something. Cut back to the present. No, that was a lie. Little did I know. Because
little did you know.
Azur Lane immediately did a new thing, and then FGO Halloween decided to do a thing, and then also Girls Frontline has a thing for Halloween that's not 100% awful. Not 100%. And it's just like, oh fuck, I didn't do anything. But yeah, so that was my life. But last night, I did, in an effort not to disappoint everybody, I did actually take some time to watch some stuff. I deliberately told Lucky, hey, I'm going to focus on editing this episode, because the episode of Let's Talk FGO that just came out had a little bit extra stuff to do in the audio prep, so I was like, I need to make sure I focus on this and remember to do it.
Yeah, actually, I really like the robot voice.
Yeah, it's a good
Really
effect.
cool.
And yeah, but the thing is, if I'm watching you stream and engaging with the audience while you do that, it gets really distracting. So I was like, no, I need to make sure I focus on this and get it done. And then I'm like, I'm just gonna like try and watch some stuff. Yeah. So I watched the first 2 episodes of Princess Principal.
Mm-hmm.
You're really good at getting picks. You knew what you were saying.
Well, like I said, I kind of know your taste, so I'm like, I try to pick things that I think you would watch.
You had a very good pick. You knew exactly what to do. It was almost too good. Because immediately after I finished the first episode, I was like, fuck, I'm thinking about stuff. Hold on, I gotta go write some things down. With research. Which, took me a while. Now, you might say, oh, isn't that really, self-censored or narcissistic? You're constantly comparing things to that thing you wrote, Mages of War. No, this is just about aesthetics. Which, I gotta be honest, I was watching this and I was just thinking to myself, this is actually seems really on point for Mages of War, and also, I don't think I've ever actually discussed what the time period is like.
Mm-hmm.
because I don't really know if the casual reader will understand what life was like now, like 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote a whole intro chapter, which is a little bit more loose and meta than some other stuff I've written, because it directly talks to the reader.
Yeah, I was actually saying once I read it, I thought, like, if we ever do put this into production, we definitely have to move this up to, like, the front.
Yeah, that would definitely, if I gave it a proper layout, be the, like, actual proper print intro, apart from maybe the initial, like, front, page right behind the cover, which is like, hey, did you just pick this book up? Here's what it's about. Buy it.
Booyah!
Kind of thing. Or, hey, did your friend just throw you this book and you're wondering why he did so? Here it is. And then it's, like, details. So I discussed culture, technology, aesthetics, kind of, set up some initial conceits that stuff is... Like, don't expecting, like, a weird new continent to crop up anywhere, some weird nation you've never heard of to appear. It's all mostly the same with some slight drift because either mages remembered stuff that may have been lost, or the enemy destroyed stuff that should have been remembered, and then just kind of like, okay, here's the general outline of the culture, And then, as always, I was like, and then here's how mages are different. Because... Like, there's a lot of things, like, in this time period, there was a lot of growing middle class and a lot of growing urbanization. There's a great move in the turn of the 20th century from rural areas to cities to, do that process. And so stuff has started to grow. At this time period was actually right about the time, like, in America, for instance, middle and upper classes first, started having, like, an annual vacation. That was the thing you did. You had leisure time. Fabric got a lot cheaper, so people got a lot more invested in fashion. This was when mass-produced automobiles, cars were just starting to be a thing. Like, I think it was 1914 was Ford's Model T, one of the most successful, car runs of all time, by comparison. So, yeah, it's a lot of that stuff. Like, in a lot of places, most people still get around on horses or bicycles. Which, if you wonder, hey, why would my character who's in an industrial war setting have, like, survival or take the traits that make them good with horses? I don't know. Maybe you lived in the fucking country where you had a horse. It's like that sort of stuff. But players won't necessarily think that unless they have context.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked a little bit about art and stuff for the sake of, like, okay, if you're thinking about what stuff is like now, like, what music do I listen to on the radio? Well, apparently ballroom music and marching music was very popular, but this is the era when jazz did get started. It's not popular yet, but it's been invented.
Yeah, didn't jazz not get popular until, like, the 40s or something?
No, I think jazz didn't get really, really popular until the 20s, because the 20s is when we got a little... Like, 20s is when we invented swing music, also. It's when we got a lot...
That's right.
A lot more loose and flashy, because we just finished the Great War, and it was like, oh man, that sucked. What if we just embraced the decadence and stuff, and got cooler?
Yeah, that's right. I do remember swing being the 20s. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not quite at flapper fashions, but hemlines are rising. It's because there's a fabric shortage for the war. Literally, skirts are getting shorter because we need that fabric for uniforms and bandages. Thank you very much. It's funny how external factors, warp culture.
So clearly, war has led to legs for days.
Yeah, but also there's notes about, like, mages are weird. So on the one hand, as a conceit of a modern writer writing to a modern audience, mages are very progressive. Honestly, you wouldn't find the mindset of most quote-unquote modern mages of the 20th century different from a modern person. They're fairly egalitarian. They're arguably concerned with the environment, because they actually feel the effects of you altering the natural state of ether and stuff. They're very cooperative and culturally focused. Real keen on those fighting the demons. Maybe don't shoot each other as much. But also, I liken this when I was talking about fashion. Mages are not necessarily slaves to trends because they have magical powers and stuff. So if you've got a dumb hat that's like 200 years old, but it makes you invisible, you're not getting rid of that hat. It's an important hat, even if it looks dumb.
Hey, if the hat's invisible, no one can fucking see it. Hey!
But yeah, so there's a lot of those little details. I got a little bit into, like, how... Another example of, like, how you could blend magic into your daily life. Mages can do some weird stuff with construction and artistry that is touched on at other points, but like I felt good to explicitly point out, especially if this does end up as an intro segment, and be like, yeah, no, when a mage builds a house, they can like literally build a living wood house. They can tell a tree through magic to like grow into the shape of a house. It's weird.
Actually, I know it's not directly related, but I actually do feel like your mages of law actually do really highlight a lot of these points you're talking about.
Well, yeah, that's interesting though, because as you may be about to comment, that's actually set in the equivalent of this time period.
Yeah, but it still harkens back to a lot. Well, I said it harkens to the mage mindset, even in like the modern era.
Yeah, Nina has a lot of thoughts about stuff, which is like she has to deal with the conflict of family history versus shit. I have to solve crimes.
I don't know. I do like her constant snark though. As I said earlier, I just finished. As I said, Omega told me he had written this stuff, and I remember, oh yeah, I haven't got caught up on Mages of Law yet, so I read that. And my new favorite line now is, too late, pour in the milk.
Which you need to say with a certain jaunty clip tone, too late, pour in the milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as Nina's mostly vegetarian elf roommate criticizes her late-night dining choices.
Elf roommate cousin.
Yes, they're distantly related. But yeah, so, and then criticizes her late night choices because, what did I call the Lucky Charms analog again?
Fortune, was it Fortune Flakes? They're alchemically delicious? No. It was Fortune something.
Probably Fortune Focus, because Focus are, charms, focus items. But yeah, they're alchemically delicious. So yeah, she's eating Lucky Charms at like 8 o'clock at night. Nina is not like me because she actually tried really, really hard, way too hard in college, as evidenced when I wrote an entire section just so I could find a reasonable way to include her college transcript, basically. It comes from immense privilege. But like all characters, she is like me in some ways, and I have totally channeled that life. I did that just now. I was like, oh fuck, the kitchen's kind of cluttered, and I should eat something, because I'm a little hungry, and we're going to be here 3 hours. Fuck, I just make some Pop-Tarts. Put them in the toaster.
Actually, I do have to say that about your writing style. Like, I think it's mostly because of the fact of you having to explain the world a lot, but you basically see a lot of the world through Red's viewpoint focus to the point it's mostly it's exposition, and that's the problem. I said to talk about Major Law. That's like kind of the problem when you're establishing such a new setting. You have to like do a lot of info dump on to people, otherwise they're just not gonna get it.
Yeah,
and that's to cycle back to Mages of War. Yeah, that's what Lay of the Land is basically doing, is giving you an info dump. It's like, hey, this is how things are. Before you like shoot hit first, this is some things you should probably understand.
Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, hey, most people don't own a telephone yet.
Mm-hmm.
But you could, because you're playing mages, so you understand advanced technology. Mages love tech. It's not one of those, it's a Magitech setting, not another, not like likened to the Dresden Files where magic and technology directly conflict. But more of a sense where like, oh no, magic directly leads to technology. Like, you take raw current, you can turn it into a form of crystallized ether, Ethereum, which you can then make a device which is sensitive to magic, or you can just have that raw energy spun back out and either use it to power objects or for mages to power their spells. Which is what I believe 90% of Ethereum core charges are used for, statistically speaking, based on playtesting.
Yeah. Sometimes you really want to spell sling.
No, and that's kind of a point I want to get across, is like, mages can magic pretty casually, but not the casualist, It's not quite D&D, you have so many spells prepped per day, but that's something that's also emphasized in the narration for Mages of Law. A mage only has so much in the tank in a day. They can only get so much done.
Hence Red's quest for sugary cereal.
Well, yeah, that is another fun quality I like about writing about the magic system, is like, no dude, mana's in literally everything. Literally everything is mana. So it's all about just spiritually transferring forms and energy to different things. So, like, yes, burning calories to generate bioelectric energy and body heat is basically fire. So, digestion is appropriating chemical energy. So, yeah, she can directly be like, I'm going to store up that not as fat energy, but as, magical energy and blast it out.
That's why she can probably eat Burger Wizard and eat donuts and sugary cereals all day and still remain super fucking thin.
Well, yeah, that is another point, is that, like, she keeps up with her physical fitness because, and heck, talking about, like, stuff she's been drilled in, Nina she exemplifies multiple times, she's literally been taught how to do the cheat sheet that every mage has. So, she can literally directly turn magic energy back into muscle energy. So, it's, the great pyramid. She can eat food, convert it to magic, and then also just use it to sprint. So, that is something I'm trying to get across, is, like, it's interesting about Nina's character. By the way, did I actually put it in the text? What Nina's middle name is?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
I wrote a brief description because they're going to come up later, and I wanted to make sure I got the details, so I know what her whole family is like. All 7 of them. They all have really dumb nicknames, middle names.
Oh.
So, Nina's Nina Hydra. Nina Hydra Chevalier. So I wanted to try and get across that in terms of the setting of 2020, Nina's really kind of like a bleeding heart, college liberal for mages. Like, she's, soft on beast men. She's, agreeable on mage-human relations. She's working a government job as opposed to being private.
Rebelled against her family. Mm-hmm. Her very traditional family.
Yeah. Especially considering her, I think it's mentioned a couple places, her dad did military service, for instance.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to casually bisexual.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's just me emphasizing, dudes, mages are supposed to be really libertine and always have been. They're magic people. It's very hard to just go, gasp, perversion, blam, when you're like, dude, I throw lightning bolts. You're like, okay, not in public. I really like the lightning bolts. Because that is the thing. As a writer, I am a little bit cynical. I would think that if we had lightning bolt throwing people, we would not be on them about their lifestyles so much. We would just be like, but dude, lightning bolts. I love that. I'm all about that. Just don't have an orgy in town square. Cool.
Please, thanks.
I'll call you up when I need some lightning bolts.
Yeah, you actually talk about that, how there's mage towns and loge towns. Again, there's a lot of exposition in the story, but I love it because it really does paint Queen
and
City.
And also, I like this because I like the viewpoint of the thing because, while writing first person, you get to see the characters, but I get to subtly show you because everything is Nina's viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are a lot of little things that are just her, and Nina's like snarky to everybody, but she's still snarky to herself. Like, she's critical of herself a lot.
Oh no, Max, the church got magic too.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. The Roman Catholic Church in this is all mages. That's, instead of being all male, it's, no, if you want to reach the highest reaches of the priesthood, you have to be magic. So, the Pope is a mage and always has been, kind of thing.
Yeah, and with the threat of the enemy, the church isn't regarded as
Yeah, like, that's a note I left in there. Religious conflicts are still possible, even if we're supposed to be all about, brotherhood and friendship, because two groups that border each other might think that the other group are not being judicious enough against the enemy and should be purged, but generally it's like, dude, there's fucking demons out there, we should keep our shit together.
Crusade!
Which is actually kind of a turning point. I even threw a little note there in Lay of the Land that, like, in the time period of the Great War, it's not like if you talk to a priest, they would be like, the enemy definitely exists. There are definitely demons, and if you are a bad person, they will swallow your soul and drag you into eternal torment. But, the more educated or philosophical people will be like, I don't know. Maybe the enemy was just man all along. At which point, Wolfgang would be like, no, the enemy is definitely demons. They're definitely real.
Oh, actually, as a Like, I don't know if we're considering fucking our campaign canon to your fucking story, but when you're talking about, like, demons became like, oh yeah, they're actually, after the Second Great War, became like, yeah, they're still here. I was like, I don't know. Again, I said we're taking a break for our actual Mages of War campaign, but I still will not stop thinking about it. Which is good, because that's basically might be what keeps us back.
Well, that's what's going to keep me cooking on the setting, because the other thing about Princess Principal is now that I watched 2 episodes, I immediately thought, fuck, I also am considering I need to write a chapter about how magic and espionage works.
Yeah, actually, this was like the thing I first thought of when I say it's all like, oh yeah, espionage. We were like, because here's the thing about, like particularly our campaign, since we're down in the African colonies, we don't have to deal with like we don't have to really deal with espionage or politics.
Yes, you do have to deal with a little, but it's mostly local because, hey, guess what? Natural borders. There's a lot of fucking desert and mountains around you.
Yeah. So it's kind of why,
you are, to talk about that whole, urbanization thing, you are in one of those rural areas that is not rapidly urbanizing. Like, you've got a couple of urban centers, but the people are not necessarily in a rush to move there yet. So
yeah, like, actually, like, I'm literally right now, I have Wolfgang's strategic goals up right now, and under my long-term goals, it's literally protect and develop the colony. I'm working on that right now.
Yes, you need more factories to build more bullets, basically.
Yeah.
Because you're having to import bullets right now, and that sucks. Because you're fighting one of the premier naval powers in the setting.
Yes.
Oh. Fun times. But yeah, that is a whole thing, and like, some of it's just gotta be conventional. Mages have these big personal codes of honor. How do they resolve being sneaky pants? But also, it's another one of those things where, like, the fluff is implied but not explicit yet, but there are high-level magic spells where, like, you can change your voice, your appearance, you can become fucking invisible, right? Like, that's implied that, obviously, you could do a lot of stuff with that. Like, honestly, without even getting into, like, cloak and dagger stuff, literally military intelligence, sensor mages are crazy. Like, they can see in the dark and see with magnification without any lenses. And also, Princess Principal inspired me to add a new category to custom mobility units. You can now get compact mobility units. They're so small you can wear them under your clothes.
Oh, wow.
They're harder to steer and harder to fix because they're a lot more delicate, and they have smaller control surfaces, but they have a bonus to be hidden.
Oh, that girl from the Black Lizard Planet inspired you, huh?
Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to remember when you first mentioned it. Did we talk about Cavorite?
I don't think so.
Okay, so that immediately when they were doing the opening monologue, I was like, oh, Cavorite, that's cool, because in case we did not talk about it and the audience doesn't know, Cavorite is the fictional anti-gravity substance from an H.G. Wells story, Men in the Moon. So it's very classic science fiction reference, which I immediately caught because I am a huge nerd.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the kind of stuff that immediately makes me go, neat. But yeah, so her little portable Cavorite engine was like, oh, dude, that's neat. She can fucking hide her flying device. Oh, I should make it so mages can do that. So yes, now you can get the ultra compact model. It's small, it's harder to steer, because like I said, your etheric rudders and stuff are literally smaller. But you could theoretically hide it under your clothes, which is great. And also, that's pretty easy in this era of fashion, because, like, for men, for instance, it's still suits and 3-piece suit coat. Like, the casualist you get in the early 1910s is, or the teens, is blazer. That's, like, the height of casual fashion right now. Blazer and maybe some sneakers.
Well, yeah, over there in those urban centers, not here in the fucking, No,
you would wear a sturdy Norfolk coat, a tweed coat for outdoors work.
Yep.
Or possibly something lighter. I don't know. You have to deal with hot temperatures a lot. You are in a desert.
Mm-hmm.
Something I didn't want to mention because it might edge people out is that theoretically also at this point in time there was what was called Orientalism push, because there was a opera performance of Scheherazade which swept Europe, and so everybody was all like, yo, give me this East Asian and Middle Eastern fashion.
Oh,
and I was like,
I do remember hearing about that.
I don't know if I want to write that down. One, because that's a very, very specific reason why that happened, and also, that is kind of weird with my whole, hey guys, in this universe, colonialism's not as awful, so you don't have to feel bad about yourself.
Well, I would just, honestly, I would just spend it as just a cultural trend that just, happened to pick up as trade picked up. It's like,
but so in this case, you guys would probably dress much more native than you might expect when you're out of uniform.
Oh yeah.
Luckily, you guys took tropical uniforms, so you guys have, short-sleeved uniform jackets and shorts.
Mm-hmm.
So you're very light, which is good, because otherwise you die. It's fucking hot.
It's fucking hot.
But yeah, so there are lots of little details I've spread throughout Mage's War, and like this immediately made me thoughts. But yeah, so I'm like, I probably need to write some espionage to talk about like how that works, because that is another thing players will have to think about. Because there are a couple of careers and advanced careers which are intel focused, so it would probably be good to guide players who want to play in that direction.
Yeah, I don't think you actually have to necessarily make any new mechanics. You might like come up with maybe a couple spy gadgets. Maybe, but other than that,
maybe I think honestly, I would just describe the tactics and technology in a fluff chapter. And
be like honestly, it'd just be mostly fluff.
And be like, okay, here's how you guys handle military intelligence and espionage.
Yeah.
And here's how mages are really super good at it, because you have compact wearable radios and can see in the dark.
Time to get spooky.
But yeah, so that was kind of my catalyst. Other than that, first 2 episodes, really like them. The non-linear style is a little weird.
When you get used, like, once... like
I assume once you get used to just following the story in form, but just the wild swing from, like, the in media res, almost cold open style first episode to the second episode is here's how we got here, but also drop a big fucking cliffhanger at the end. Thanks, guys. If it hadn't been, like, 2:45 in the morning, I would have probably watched the third one right away. But yeah, so I'm interested. I'll try and catch more tonight. Are you going to stream more RE4?
Probably.
Yeah, I will probably still take another break off that just because I missed the first one. And also, this one's going to be not complex, but God knows how long it's going to take to edit. How long have we been going? Let's see. Yeah, I was right. I was feeling like the 30-minute mark.
Oh yeah, like I said, the RE4 I streamed for 6 hours, and I got through the first act. So now I'm at the castle.
Nice. So I've because it's 6 hours long. I haven't tried to catch up that at all. You having a good time there?
I died several times. Loft keeps making suggestions for me to die.
Let's see.
That's why he is his.
He also pinged you with a meme while you were streaming, and I was like, "That's a dangerous thing to say."
It was true. There was a point where I was trying to shove a giant fish into my attaché case.
Of course, because it's RE4. It's actually the other kind of reason why I was okay skipping is because I'm like, RE4 has been out a while, and it's been released like 1,000,000 times. I'm pretty familiar with this one.
It's always amazing what you forget, though. Well, I forget, I should say. I have a horrible memory, but it has been fun going back, especially since when I originally played it, it was on the GameCube, so I had a controller and those controls, and now I'm playing on PC, and that takes a minute to get used to. Yeah. Also, like just 2005 controls of you can't actually, the way you move and the way you aim. It's like, oh, I can't walk and aim at the same time.
Classic Resident Evil controls.
It's like, oh. But, yeah, so I probably will. I am glad you're liking Princess Principal. What else? I recommended to you a No Gun Life so you can get your,
that is still in my Funimation queue, but I'm sure someday I'll have time to do things.
And honestly, like, reading a Mages of War, Mages of Law, has gotten me on to, like, yeah, I think I'll recommend Copcraft to you, too. Not something that you, like, need to watch, but if you have some time and you want to try something different, you should give it a whirl. Like, I'm almost done with it. I have literally 1 episode left. So, and overall, I can say I like it.
Mm.
It's a little weird in places.
What anime isn't weird?
Yeah. But I'm gonna also recommend that one to you, just because it's like I see a lot of similarities between it and Mages of Law, kind of.
All right, I'll put that further in my camp.
But also, reading Mages of Law reminds me like how you actually did go to school for God, what was your degree again? I can never remember.
Criminal justice.
Yeah, and you know all that stuff about like cop procedures and forensics, forensic analysis and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to lean on realism, like not make any cheap cop outs, but also not bog the story down too much because
Well, yeah, like a metal mage can literally like pull the shards of a bullet fragment out of out of, I don't know what, I can't remember what it was, like, of concrete. It's like, oh yeah, here's the fucking bullet. Where, just normal guy would have to be there with fucking, like, tweezers and fucking,
Yeah, and also he sensed it first to be like, hey, by the way, there's some old metal stuck in here. There's some new metal stuck in this wall.
Yeah. It's not a cop-out. It's not a cop-out. It's a shortcut. So, yeah. And Copcraft gives me a lot of those feelings of, like, especially dealing with magic crimes. They're like, sometimes you need a little bit of magic to help you out with it. So, I don't know, is there anything else we want to really talk about? Mages of War, anime? Like I said, I am right now working on Captain Wolfgame's strategic goals. I like thinking about them, and it helps me stay in the mood for mages, even though I guess we can talk about Eclipse Phase.
Well, yeah, I have finished my famous gear guide. It took a while. And I'm glad I did it, because unfortunately the book does have stuff spread out. Like, I got through all the gear and I was like, oh yeah, where the fuck are weapons and armor? Oh, those are all in the combat chapter now. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks. That's not going to be a pain in the ass for my players.
Not at all.
So I compiled one of my famous gear guides. I do this a lot for tabletop games just because I like to read and I'm pretty good at analyzing and compressing information. So the EP gear guide for 2nd edition is just, okay, here's a list of, at the top, here's what stuff translates to in mechanical cost, time frames, gear point cost, etc. I might have to add another note about wear, because wear's a little more compacted in this version. Like, it just, in the tables, it will list whether it's, like, bioware, cyberware, hardware, etc. So, like, something that's bioware can only be in biomorphs, something that's hardware can only be in centimorphs. Cyberware can be either, and so can nanoware. But nanoware is obviously nanos. Stuff like that. But then the rest is just, here's a list of all the different categories, and then here's the cost attacked at the end. It lets you know any relevant modifiers, it lets you know a general fluff description of what it does, so you know why you want this thing, and just goes through them all. And honestly, I've picked up a couple of interesting things from it, just reading the philosophy. Like, I like how they handle armor mods now. They're like, armor mods are a smart material spray coating. You spray it on your armor, it lasts a day, you can only have one armor mod at a time, and I'm like, that really balances out all the shenanigans with armor customization, because
I remember that.
Let me tell you, you could cram a lot of shit into a battle suit.
Yeah, you can.
So now you can only have one at a time, and if you want to, you can buy a specialized hive, which will constantly rebuild your armor mod, but that's another really expensive extra you have to buy. Like, actually, I think all armor mods are minor, so the specialized hive would be moderate, but still, it's like, you literally step up the cost and the time it takes to acquire and all that. So that was pretty interesting to look at. It's interesting to look at weapons, like, vis-a-vis restriction, because that's a new category, as some stuff is restricted, unless you, in some polities, unless you have a special license, you can't buy or carry it. And I'm like, on the one hand, this ruins my argument that people don't give a fuck about swords, because monofilament swords are restricted. On the other hand, it really does let you know, like, the level of stuff, and adds a certain amount of balance. Like, before, there was absolutely no goddamn reason why you shouldn't just buy a plasma rifle. But now plasma rifles are expensive and restricted. You might just want to pick up, like, a laser pulse or a microwave agonizer or something and be like, okay, this is my weapon. Also,
bang, bang, motherfucker.
I like that now that guns and melee are all compressed, the differences between stuff can be much more... It's much more important is about the differences about what you get, Like, for instance, there's really no reason not to take a club if you need just a quick weapon, other than that it's just pretty basic. Like, but on the other hand, maybe you want a flux cutter. That's concealable, does slightly more damage. The extendable baton, though, is, also collapsible. So there's that. And then there's a shock baton, which delivers a shock. So you can kind of, like, really get to define out what you want. Honestly, for melee weapons, the vibroblade is probably your best bet for a cheap damage-intense weapon, because it's not restricted, but it's armor-piercing and does decent damage, and you can do even more damage if you do the special bonus damage thing. And then, like, for instance, all ranged weapons are now guns, so the difference between picking a beam weapon, spray weapon, kinetic weapon, or seeker weapon is just, hey, what fits your situation better? Most guns still tend to be restricted, because, it's a shooty thing, but they're they're fairly flexible, and it's all really balanced in that normal way. Like, heavy pistol, medium pistol, and holdout pistol are all the same cost. And it's really just, okay, what do you want more? Like, holdout pistol, small magazine, small damage, literally concealable. You literally have a bonus to conceal it. It's, pocketable. Medium pistol is well balanced, and then the heavy pistol is like, okay, you get slightly more damage, but slightly less ammo. And so it all kind of shakes out from there.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you're willing to spend extra, they have the polyguns, so you can get a shape-changing pistol or rifle, and just, in 3 action turns, you can switch it to any combo you need, so you can be like... Now, I had to do a little bit of creative editing, because this is like an early backer release version of the PDF, and I haven't seen the full final release version yet, and as much as I like Eclipse Phase, I don't really want to buy a book that I already have that is distributed free right now. So I haven't, just gone up to drive-thru and bought the new version of the PDF, just for bug fixes.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things that don't necessarily connect. Like, in drugs, there's something in the table called brutality, which is not mentioned in the list at all. So I'm like, I'm going to leave that out, because I don't know what that does. Well, I know what mechanically it does, but I'm like, I don't know what I don't know what the effects or description of this drug is, so I'm not going to put it in. And also, the polygun rifle is switch between AR, SMG, and sniper rifle, and I'm like, those don't match up. Because that's not really the differences in, stats. Like, the sniper rifle is a tier above the, AR and SMG. It's the same as the machine gun, so I'm like, I'm going to write that as BR until I get an official clarification on that. Because, technically, the text in the chart says as AR or SMG, but I'm like, if it's just switching between those two, that's kind of weak, so I'll make it like the pistol. It switches between all 3 weapons of the same class for now. And if that's not how it is, but I like the balance better, then I'll keep it, because that's how I work. I have homebrewed a lot of Eclipse Phase in my day. But yeah, so I've I've looked at all this stuff, so I can now I feel confident that I can recommend weapons, armor, other tech. Implants are always really important, and some of them are pretty simple. Like, oh hey, guess what? You're a combat character. You're mostly going to be spending vigor. Okay then, you're gonna want to take some cheap mods that give you +1 vigor. Buy a Novocardium. Maybe if you're really going whole hog on there and you've got the cash to spend, maybe buy Neurochem for +2 vigor.
I really do like all that.
I really like you could mix and match the couple.
I really do like all the new options they have, especially for the what do they call this new system with the Moxie, Vigor, and all that crazy stuff?
The pools.
The pools, yeah. I really like these pools.
Yes, and I like that makes it easier to make implants mechanically useful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you can get an implant called a Novocardium, which is enhanced. It's enhanced heart and circulatory system. It's moderate mechanically, just gives you +1 vigor, which makes sense. Mm-hmm. It makes you more vigorous. Great, cool,
yep. Good job.
It's really easy. Neurochem. Well, you can spend vigor to get extra actions like the old Neurochem, so it just gives you +2 vigor. It's, a dramatically increased neural responses, so you can use that to also take extra actions, but you can use it to do other stuff. Makes it very, very effective and open. They've also, not quite nerfed, but they have more firmly established some stuff. So, for instance, nanophages are here, but, they only work once every 8 hours.
Ooh.
But you do get to make a check to stop any nanotoxin or drug, and even if they fail, they have the duration, so you might live through it. So it makes them more on a curve. Medicines are no longer the perfect must-buy, I think, that they used to be. They still speed up how you heal, but it's just on the healing chart. Somebody with medicines heals a little bit quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But it still gives you the ignore 1 wound and halves duration of toxins, drugs, and chemicals, which is great. So you can just be like, I'm not going to be affected by this.
I'm done.
I think they've done a lot of interesting things with the various drug categories too. Personally, I know that drugs I don't think get used a lot because of the harsh addiction penalties.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they've gone all out on making stuff be behavior altering. There's a lot of drugs now that literally give you enhanced behavior for the duration. which I like. It enforces the role playing, On the other hand, I would say now, especially with stuff like, higher costs, restrictions, and I would be like, no, don't just dope up on murder. Like, don't do that. That's bad. Instead, just buy the thing that gives you, buy, Neurochem for the same cost and install it into you. But if you're desperate, you could, get some murder and, shoot yourself up. By the way, murder, MRDR, is one of, I think, the most famous drugs in EP, because it was the combat drug of choice in the first edition. It's described as an amphetamine which enhances strength, speed, and suppresses pain. So it gives you +2 vigor, you ignore 1 wound, but it makes you twitchy, and it also gives you enhanced behavior aggression, and a -20 on social checks for the duration, because you're an asshole. Oh, and they're having a discussion about Space Ishtar and Saber Wars 2, which, yes, I know that's a thing. Honestly, there's a very funny comment that's like, Omega, we're going to talk for forever so we don't need to worry about JP, and then they're like, JP launches Saber Wars 2. I'm like, but still, even with just that, the event is still very, very sus. It's very low-key. Not a lot of details are out there. Because it's like, they haven't even shown us banner details, what classes these servants are, It's like, it's very ambiguous right now. So we would have just added 30 minutes to a two-hour show about nothing. But yeah, so that's got a lot of people up in arms and confused about stuff. Yeah, it's time to meet some channels. Alrighty, but yeah, so the EP gear guide is like, I take everything together, I put it together, and I'm like, okay, now you guys can make characters, because you've got all the stuff. You've got a cheat sheet to run you through character creation. Though actually, I could probably top this gear guide off by adding the starting gear packs. Well, I don't know, this document's huge. Maybe I'll go back and add it to the cheat sheet. But I will probably add that one just for clarity, because the thing is that the game simplifies buying new gear, because, every mission you get so many gear points usually, and, hey, funny enough, every gear pack that you get as a starting character is worth about 10 GP, so it makes it very easy to spend your mission gear budget really quickly. So I don't know if I want to include that, though, in the gear guide or the other one for, sake of reading. I'll figure that out. I should probably add that just for the sake of, like I said, completion, but I don't think it's required. Y'all can, control F some stuff. But yeah, so I said that out there, and actually I was kind of surprised. Our buddy Ron is interested in playing EP with us. Is like, because I said, if you guys want to, we can do a session 0 to, hammer out character details, but otherwise you guys can make characters on your own. He was like, that sounds interesting. I'm going to be busy this weekend, but that sounds cool. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, if we can find some time, we'll do a session 0 then.
Yeah, no, I don't know exactly what I want to play, but I'll probably just make my character with other people as we figure out.
That's at least fair to, inform others, even if you have a clear detail. Well, you may benefit from having a conversation with me and the others about your character, about what shit you need to carry.
Yeah. Well, because here's a great thing about character creation. As long as you know what the system is and how it works, you can make a character real fast. It's like, well, you can get out the basic bits anyway of alright, so what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? Where do I want to come from? Fine details can come later, because, but for session 0, you can get basically what you want to get. It's who's going to be the face, who's going to be the muscle, driver, mechanic, operators, stuff like that. Hacker.
Yeah, which like I said, I think for EP with 4-man cell, you need to establish very clearly somebody needs to be face, somebody needs to be shootman. Solo, as Cyberpunk would call it, or the Street Sam in Shadowrun. The guy who does the thing. And then you need, because this is EP, you need a hacker. You need a tech specialist, basically. And then the 4th slot is kind of whatever support position you decide you need. Because that could be, maybe you need a pure investigator. Maybe you need like we said, a pure pilot mechanic, or maybe that's something the hacker handles. Because like I said, talking about Shadowrun archetypes, a rigger is not necessarily a decker.
Nope.
It's the same kind of a feel, but you need a 4th person to handle specialty skills that the other core 3 people don't handle, because, it's like, oh no, we've encountered an alien virus. It's biological, so I can't hack it. It's not intelligent, so I can't talk to it, and it's microscopic, so I can't shoot it. What do I do?
By the way, talking about Shadowrun terms, a rigger is someone who operates drones. A decker is someone who hacks into the Matrix.
Yes, if you did not know those, that's what those archetypes are.
Yeah, sorry.
And I think Face is literally what they call it in Shadowrun.
Yeah, Face is basically your social front man. Mm-hmm. He talks to people, gets deals for you, talks people down, or talks people up, depending on what you need.
Which is actually a thing I do love that they added talks about social combat. So a pure Face character can just yell at people in a fight, and it works. It does things now, explicitly. Which I know some people are like, ooh, but my social interactions don't need to be regimented, but at the same time, lack of mechanics can make players feel like they're not getting anything out of it.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. Like social objectives, I guess I want to say, has always been kind of overlooked because people are like usually like, yeah, I'm just gonna talk at them, roll my skill.
The classic Gary Gygaxian method is just, I believe, you would just talk to people, and if it came to a matter of like, well, how skillful are you at this? You'd roll your skill die, get some diplomacy or whatever, get some deception, and then just go from there. But obviously, depending on the type of game you're running and the setting of it, you might need a little bit... Excuse me. A little burpy today. You might need a little bit more definition than that. So, a lot of games are like, okay, so what do social skills actually do? How do people resist social skills? And I know some people are really keen on like, oh, social skills aren't mind control, but also sometimes social engineering is mind control, kids.
It is.
You can do some weird stuff. So I've always played to, like, when it comes to, like, player characters, or player characters being the target of social attacks, kind of, like, trying to properly convey what that's like. So, for instance, there's an actual infamous example of EP to deal with my many problem children in EP. This time I feel much more comfortable in this. I'm probably going to tell the story again in Session 0 for the others to remind everybody, but, our very first session of EP, I tell everybody to make their characters off camera, basically, and come back to me.
Oh, yeah, this story.
And I said explicitly, I think I only explicitly said one thing, which was, nobody make a Psy character. I don't know how Psy works yet. I don't have a grip on that. And our good buddy Marth, you've heard him in the APs, is, part of Lucky's buddy cop duo. He comes to me not only with an async character, who does Psy, and I'm like, God damn it. But also, he had multiple personalities, so he was two guys. Only one of whom was psychic. Oh, that was great. But yes, we got over that. I'm pretty good at character archetypes now. Though, mentioning the buddy cop thing earlier, it was funny. I remember when you first said Captain Wolfgang Strategic Goals, I was like, is that an anime title? Then it took me a second to click, and I'm like, that still sounds like a good anime title.
Means yes, if Nations of War ever gets made into an anime, that will be the time. Captain Wolfgang's Strategic Goals, as he tries to not die in Africa. Every episode will be a certain goal.
But yeah, so that's tabletop stuff. We're going to do things. Also, speaking of tabletop, we mentioned it earlier. I finally sat down. I think we were playing Terraria at the time, but I slammed my face down. And I was like, okay, we need to, if nobody's dead, try and record Tabletop Simulator to see if it works and nobody explodes. Mission success. Nobody exploded and died.
Oh yeah.
So we recorded Let's Play Sushi Go on Tabletop Simulator. Mostly because I was just joshing around with you and Axel a while, and I was like, well, what do you want to play? I want to play something quick and lean. We could just do cards, but I kind of, I felt that neither of you were necessarily super interested in that, so I'm like, we could try some other light card games. Like, I remember Sushi Go seeming pretty fun. He says, unironically, not realizing how badly he was going to lose in the end. Or we could play Love Letter, that's always really quick. So we settled on Sushi Go, and we did it. And yes, I spoiled it. At the end of the round, I lost. But who wins and how do we get there is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it is also a learning experience, so if you're expecting pro-level Sushi Go plays, it's not. But yeah, so look forward to more of those in the future. I don't know if we got enough time next week to plan out a run of Betrayal on House on the Haunted Hill, but I don't know.
I don't know how long it takes to play, and
here's the thing, it takes a while, and we'd have to assemble the team.
You have to assemble a team, and as I said, playing with TTS is not quite like playing
now,
in real life.
It's a little fidgety. It's a brilliant, it's a wonderful tool. I love it so much. A little fidgety. Of like the multiple times we accidentally dealt hands in the wrong direction.
You're like, whose card is who?
And we were like, how did this happen? And I think it was the fault of the mod designer who gave us too tiny a table for Sushi Go.
Yeah.
So if you actually sat like 6 people together, it would be really hard. They probably weren't thinking about using the deal command. I don't know what they were planning on doing, but yeah. But yes, we will continue to play TTS now occasionally as we think of games to play and people to play them with.
Ta-da!
Because, hey, we like board games too.
Yep, we do.
Alright, we're at about an hour. I feel like maybe we should take a quick intermission and come back to maybe a different topic. I know you mentioned anime before, and I might have a couple of things to mention about that.
Alright, well, yeah, I'm gonna go get me some hot cider, because it's cold. Oh yeah.
Okay. We return, blah blah blah. Instant for You was just... Actually, that's funny. I'm listening to an actual play that involves time dilation.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, it's a fun little campaign about building a society, because it's with Rain, which is a one-roll engine system, but it's designed for kind of like how Wild Talents is a system agnostic, setting agnostic way to do superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
Rain is kind of as far as I understand it, a setting agnostic way to do governmental type games.
Really?
Like, it's a one-roll engine where you can build dice in stat pools for your organization. So like you could be a mercenary company, a country, whatever. I should look into it more. Like, I don't know. Okay. I don't have any ideas for a campaign of that jumps out at me, but this campaign I'm listening to, Nagali Situ, for anybody out there who's interested in that kind of stuff, is very interesting.
It's always good for inspiration.
Yeah, because just the way the setup of the campaign is like, okay, you've come to a magical otherworld portal. Inside is a whole new world which has just had a slave revolution. They're going to destroy all the infrastructure before because it was made by evil blood sorcerers. So they're going to be super primitive. And, but they kidnapped your loved ones first, and now they can't leave. So, you have to establish a safe future for these people and stuff. And basically it's all about building society, because when you leave, if you're gone even for a second, hours pass. The portal is in the middle of nowhere, so if you leave, you take a couple days hike to get to a city, hundreds of years pass.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Like, these guys were gone a week, and it's already been almost 2 centuries. And in the very early point of the campaign, so it's like, okay, whatever you put in, when you go back out for more stuff, whether that's more people, more resources, whatever you did is going to stay and cook for a while. And then the endgame caveat of the campaign is that now that the immortal masters are dead, the world bubble protection is eventually going to end, so Nagali C2 will be transposed back onto the real world, so you've got a ticking clock in more ways than one. It's a very fun setup. I'll forward the actual play link to the Secret Cabal later if anybody wants to check it out, but I don't know if anybody other than me really listens to a lot of actual play. I do it while I play games. But we were talking about anime before, so just, a quick check-in. I have not yet watched Azur Lane or Babylonia yet this week. I thought about it earlier, I was staring at it, and I was like, I don't feel like this right now.
I said, Babylonia is pretty good today.
Yeah, I watched enough because you were like, oh man, that cold open. I'm like, well, let's see what it is. And then, it's literally less than 5 minutes of just Solomon Gatia in London monologuing, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. I like that they went to the effort to backfill him into the story.
Yeah.
I think you do have a couple of freaky dream flashbacks and stuff in Babylonia, but it's good that for the sake of the anime, they worked him in a little, because he's a very important character whose presence you have felt for a long time now. Like, London was literally a year before Babylonia came out. So that's cool. I took a screen cap. But
Spooky man.
I did watch Boku no Hero this week, which was pretty interesting. It's another one of those Did Midoriya Grow as a Person episode, which is good. I've heard some people complain that kind of like, with the slight filler recap part at the front, it kind of feels like the last episode should have been the first episode, and then this one should be the second one. I kind of agree with that. The pickup is a little slow, but the way this one ends is like, oh no, we're cruise controlling, we're driving straight into the action. You're like, oh, okay. And I think it does a decent way of showcasing both. It lets you remind the audience how far Midoriya has come, and kind of gut checks his drive and stuff. but also gives you a very, even more than the last episode, gives you a very good character introduction to Sir Night-Eye, who is kind of a creepy motherfucker, but means well. When you like, oh man, you think he's gonna chew out Midoriya for making fun of All Might, and then he's like, your wrinkles are wrong. I'm like, I love that that's how he, quote-unquote, passes the first test, where it's basically, instead of making him laugh, they nerd out about All Might. And that's ultimate. Well, okay. Sir Night is a future seer. That's his power. If he touches you and looks into your eyes, he can accurately predict your future up to like an hour. And maybe even farther. It's kind of unclear at this point. But he's got future sight, which is great. So he technically, I think, foresaw that Midoriya would come already and was like, okay, I'll accept you. He already planned to rationally, but irrationally, he was like, he had some baggage about some stuff that they talk about in the episode. But he kind of changed it. He doesn't like fully change his mind, but he at least acknowledges Deku at the end of it when he realizes that kid's as much of an All Might nerd as he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the preview and the post-credits, which the post-credits in Boku are a little annoying, but whatever, they exist. But with the post-credits and then the next time on, you get the real feeling that like, oh no, there's no breaks. We're just rolling right into this. Okay.
Good times.
Like, it sounds like they are doing the right thing, and hopefully the manga was paced this way anyway, but it feels like they're doing the right thing in the anime, and they're just, no, this is all still ramping up, kids. We're just going straight off that cliff.
Beep, beep.
Because this isn't even, like, next time on. In the end of the episode, in the post-credits, Deku runs into, I guess it would be Edie? E-R-I. Oh, my Japanese phenotype. But he literally bumps into her on the street, and then bumps into Overhaul right after.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my. Right away. Oh. That's cool. So, the season had a little bit of a slow start, but they've decided apparently to just thrust right into the pickup, and I'm like, I'm glad. Good.
I will let you know this is how the manga goes.
Okay, basically. It's like a little bit of setup, and they're just like, no, we're just going straight in.
Yep.
That's great. That's good. Because that's how you, honestly, if you're going to do a big, long arc, and I do believe people have said this one is longer, and if you're going to have a dramatic arc, which I know this is, you want to just ramp right into it. Like, you just give it as much setup as you need, but then just drive straight forward. Though I also do believe that, I know some people have actually, it's funny, I've been watching other people how they feel about it. Some people have actually said they're not as keen on this arc in the manga, which I thought, that's a little weird. Like, to me it sounds really cool and dramatic, but I've also heard that in the manga, the action is sometimes harder to follow, because it's like, still panels, and it's a lot more compressed, which I could be like...
Well, yeah, because here's the thing, in the manga, like, the upcoming conflict, it's several fights, and some of the villains have some fuckery powers that can, like, fuck with, like, time and space in the corridor, so things get shifted around a lot. So you're not entirely sure, like, who's gone where, who's done what. It does get a little confusing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the way the anime has worked so far, they're going to expand on some of those scenes and probably be able to much more cleanly visually clarify that.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing about doing weekly manga. You have tight deadlines and small margins. The anime's already done this for My Hero, where several of the fights that were like one panel in the manga in the sports festival were actually like several minutes. It was an actual scene in the show because, hey, they don't have to get this whole chapter done in a week. So yeah, I'm still super excited to see what's coming, and explore those characters more. Mm-hmm. Like I like that My Hero is back, because that's like, I feel like that's a nice big solid touchstone anime that a lot of people can talk about, and a lot of people I know in our circle like to talk about it. Like last season, I remember, it was Ron who would like barrel in and be like, "Yo, did you see that new episode?" I'm like, "Okay, all right, no, not yet." I'm shocked that you're super excited about this. But yeah, so that's cool. But I haven't watched much else this week, other than, like I said, I got started on Princess Principal, and hopefully we'll have the time to go back to wrapping that up. It's only like, what, 13 episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll go by pretty quick.
Quick.
I should probably say a little bit more about that series now that we're back to it, because I got a little distracted by how it inspired me, but it inspired me because it really is, like, it's very steampunky, but it is very much in that aesthetic. They've got, like, early 1910s, 1920s motor cars. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure in the first episode, I didn't, like, look too closely, it's on my TV, so I'm, able to walk around my room and stuff, because Amazon. But it looked like in the first episode, Angie was using what looked a lot like a Webley revolver.
Mm-hmm.
the standard issue British revolver in that time period, which would make sense. Props. They allude to a possible world war in the second episode if they found it to be breaking the treaty, which I'm sure is some kind of naval armament treaty, which they made loads and loads of, and all broke. Everybody broke them all the time. But anyway, that's a different discussion. But yeah, so I'm like, I love the aesthetics of this a lot. The music so far seems to be a little bit of that, jazzy kind of espionage feel, but also got like some slower pieces.
Yeah, actually, I was talking about this. The OST composer is Yuki Kajira. I think that's her name. But basically, the same person who does a lot of the Fate OSTs.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's cool. Mm-hmm. The OP is pretty good, though. At the same time, it's also like, man, this is very intense right off the top.
Oh yeah, it is. I love the OP.
It's great, but I don't know if I have the energy to watch it every single time if I'm binging the show.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, I know you do. You love OPs.
I do. Just that moment when the car just like flies off the road and they all slow mo. You have the driver grinning like a maniac.
Yeah. I like it's only a couple episodes in, so like some characters aren't super detailed. Like I said, there's a big old lore bomb dropped in the end of the second episode. I'm just like, the fuck? Like I wondered about it because of reasons that I don't know. It's the second episode. Do you think this is early enough of a spoiler or not? Should I say it?
Princess Principal's been out for a little while, so
okay. So when we do the double reversal and it's like, oh no, Angie was actually the Princess Charlotte or something. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what? On the one hand, I'm like, I always wondered if they were like secret twins or something because apparently she looks the same, and I'm like, that's a pretty obvious plot. But for them to actually drop it and be like, at least the way they phrased it is like, oh no, she's actually that princess. I'm like, wait, what? What?
They do explain it. It is one of the
I know, and that's the next episode, but I just didn't get to start that because, like I said, it was like 3 a.m.
It's but think the prince and the pauper. That's like the.
No,
that's
it's also my immediate thought when they said that Angie was from Incognia. I'm like, Incognia, Terra Incognita. Is she from Space Australia? She jokes about being from the Black Lizard planet, so I wouldn't be surprised. At least that's her cover. Which is the other thing. Despite it being about quote-unquote schoolgirls, because I'm not good with the names yet, but long hair drive your pants is like, oh, I'm 20, like you said.
I said that's a great... Well, as I said, like, when I first saw it, I thought, it was like schoolgirls, but no, the school is just a cover. That's all it is.
No, the school is the legend.
Yeah. So it's like, oh.
Like, the only reason they picked it is because the princess was there and just they happened to be there observing.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing that, like I said, seems very on theme for the time was Duke of Normandy's ring gun. Great effect. A lot of palming, a lot of coded messages. It's got a lot of that. And also, I immediately wondered, oh, is the name the name is a pun, isn't it? Because Lucky, you may not know this, but in espionage and surveillance terms, principal is another term.
It is.
The principal agent is the coordinating agent who acts as a cutout for the case officer. So the case officers are those guys sitting at headquarters issuing orders, and then arguably, if Angie is receiving and coordinating orders like she seems like she's doing in the second episode, she would be the principal agent, thus Princess Principal.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I thought of it earlier today when I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, isn't this there is a term you use, principal, in espionage and surveillance. Like, in surveillance, you can also say the principal is the target. They're the one you're supposed to eyeball. They're the principal one. So there's a lot of meaning in that name that I didn't get at first. I'm like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Deep layers. So yeah, I'll be interested to see more of it. Though I think you talked a little bit about Angie's character, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. I just the constant bald face lying. It's very entertaining. The deadpan. I like me some deadpan girls, but we've talked about this. I have a very dry wit on purpose, and Lucky has a very dry wit occasionally on accident.
Yeah. Let's see.
But yeah, so that's my overall Animus. So we should probably talk about like trailers and news and stuff. Actually, one of those could be anime. So apparently they're still making SAC 2030 something or whatever. But apparently it's going to be all CG, and I'm like, that's different.
That is different.
like, I gotta be honest, I mean, I'm not like... I mean, okay, the animation was really good in the first one, so I might be a little disappointed, but at the same time, it is still production IG, so I'm like... that's not like a red flag to me. I want to know what you're doing and why you're doing it, but I'm not like, this is wrong, this is the worst. Like, I'm honestly going to be more weirded out if they don't get back some of the original voice cast in English, because, you know, speaking about dubs and subs, I've never really watched Ghost in the Shell in Japanese, you know, SAC anyway, so I'm like, that was the most disconcerting thing to me about Arise, was that, no offense to, I can't remember her name right now, but the actress who got cast as the Major, and they were trying to do in Arise, I think they were trying to do slightly different things with her character, but also I'm like, this is just weird. This is just weird to me. That's not what the Major sounds like. You know, that classic problem.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm more concerned that, like I said, the voice cast will line up in the Netflix production, because I feel like that previous productions have been, like, maybe Texas-based, possibly Funimation directly, or I also were distributed like through Manga Entertainment, which I think is now part of Funimation. So I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna hop on over to Netflix. So that could be weird. Maybe I'll just watch it in Jap. If the English voice cast is too different, I might just have to cut ties and go Japanese. Though that'll also be awkward. I've talked about this with watching Psychopaths. It's as much as people talk about original language and stuff, it's very awkward to hear people in Japanese talk about philosophy and literature and science and stuff, all using English loanwords. Like, I remember that conversation in Psychopaths about Philip K. Dick and Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and I'm just like, this is really weird in Japanese. The flow is completely ruined. But so that's a trailer.
Yeah, so for my part, I'm not necessarily weirded out that it's CG. I'm just constantly wondering why Netflix has such a CG anime boner.
I don't know. It could be production cost related, but also they did pay production studio IG to do a traditional anime.
Yeah, they did be the beginning, but if you look,
they funded them to do Be the Beginning, which is getting a second season
Shin Godzilla,
sometime.
they have Hero Mask, they have High School Girl. Like, I can just keep listing on the numbers.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're experimenting.
Numbers.
Maybe they do need to cut costs because they're buying so many. I don't know. I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But as far as I know, this isn't like the new Berserk situation where like
it's not that bad.
Like, people say that the CG Godzilla movies are bad because they're badly made, not because of the animation.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about them, though I think we talked about them a little as being a little weird. But anyway, so that was one trailer. There was another trailer that came out this week, and that was the final Rise of Skywalker trailer.
That's right.
That was this week, where there were, boy howdy, there's a lot of ships and stuff. And I mean, I'll be honest, I like the trailer. It has a good music selection. Some people are cynical, and they're like, oh, look, Disney's just jangling keys in front of your face. Look at all these ship designs that you remember. But also, I mean, that's still kind of cool. Some of those ship designs have never been portrayed in a mainline Star Wars movie. They've only been in, like, the CG cartoons.
And there's nothing wrong about a little nerd porn there.
No, and I gotta be honest, like, this is one thing we can say for sure about The Last Jedi. No matter what your opinion, I don't think anybody disagrees that it was shot beautifully. Like, there's a lot of good cinematography in The Last Jedi. And at least from the trailer, it looks like there's a lot of good cinematography in The Rise of Skywalker. There's that one sweeping shot of those TIE fighters going up to, like, an iceberg or something. There's all these Star Destroyers rising out of the ice and water. You know, the big collections of fleets fighting each other. There's some interior corridor shots that look really smooth.
Mm-hmm.
There's that one fucking overhead sweep shot of the rebel gunship just over the jungle, and I'm like, this is good. This is good. There's some fight shots. There's some interesting commentary the characters make, where Rey's like, nobody knows me, dude. Like, she sounds a little emo, and then of course, Kylo Ren himself is like, I do. They have some good shots. They basically confirm Sheev's gonna be in it, Papa Palpatine, because he speaks multiple lines, and also his robe is seen in a reverse shot. And I gotta be like, honestly, if they're just gonna make... Here's the thing we talked about, like, Marvel has made a killing in their cinematic universe by just recycling and adapting old comic book plots to modern movie techniques, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they've done, but it's amazing. They've taken, in some ways, some of the shittiest arcs of comics that people agree on, like Civil War. People don't like that comic series. They made a good movie out of it, you know. I do believe the Infinity War is a classic, but still, like, there's a lot of these plots they've taken that are actually, like, really cool. So, if the Rise of Skywalker is just they copied Dark Empire, which is a comic from the 90s, it's about as old as I am, I'm like, I'm okay with that. You tried. You should have been doing that all along, honestly. Like, I think that would have been a little... I think we've said this before. It feels like the sequel trilogy suffered a critical lack of core direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't know what they were building up towards. All J.J. Abrams knew in The Force Awakens is that he was building up something. And then The Last Jedi was kind of caught between Rian Johnson is trying to build up to something, but he's also trying to deconstruct something, and it gets, like we said, it gets kind of tonally inconsistent.
It clashes.
Because, as far as he said anyway, nobody really gave him a battle plan for, like, how all three movies were going to go. Though, like I said, some of that could be on him. Apparently he finished writing The Last Jedi before The Force Awakens stopped shooting, so depending on whether or not he went back to revise some of that, that could just be that, did you guys just rush into this with your A plan? Did we take some time in review? And maybe not, because Disney was like, we're going to make a Star Wars movie every year, and you're like, oh shit.
It's like, goddamn Disney. Calm down.
Which they have. They've realized that was a bad idea. Star Wars is not quite Marvel Comics, despite the fact that there are, in fact, Star Wars Marvel Comics. That's not even, like, the new thing since the Disney buyout. No, Marvel actually had a deal with Star Wars for a while in the way back, in the 80s. So, which, by the way, Marvel Star Wars comics, the original ones, are really trippy. But, anyway, it did kind of feel like maybe they did not have a grand plan. Hopefully they have something resembling a plan now, or at the very least, they can, like, bang out a proper conclusion. But even if it's just, this is just Dark Empire again, I'll be like, whatever, you got cool aesthetics. Can there be some fight scenes? Does the Emperor get to drop some one-liners on me? John Williams is still doing the score,
I'm just
right?
hoping that people sat down at a table and discussed things of how this was going to end.
Right. Which I hope they did, because The Last Jedi was so divisive. They had to have sat down and go like, okay, that didn't go over perfectly. Like, obviously we're not going to say in public that it was not the reaction we're hoping for, but it wasn't the reaction we're hoping for. How do we build this so everything makes sense and people like it in the end and don't get mad at us, because we need this to not be the bullet in the franchise. George Lucas couldn't bullet the franchise with the prequel trilogy. We have to not bullet this franchise with the sequel trilogy, because Disney is thinking how much money they spent on making this and buying it all.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's gonna be haps, and I'm like, I'm cautiously optimistic. My expectations are low. Like, that's how I feel about a lot of Star Wars. Like, Rogue One's a prequel to A New Hope. I hope there's gonna be some X-Wings in it. Maybe Darth Vader will show up, And then, like, hey, that stuff happened. There were X-Wings. There was Darth Vader. Also, there were U-Wings, which are amazing. And there was some space shit I wasn't expecting. And then everybody died at the end like I was expecting. And I'm like, oh, that worked. I like that one a lot. That's a really good movie.
Good job.
Like, some of the characters in the ensemble cast were a little thin, but whatever. When you've got, like, 9 guys on screen, that's what happens. I had super low expectations going to Solo. I'm like, I've heard this is alright. I know it didn't do well commercially, but I've heard it's alright. I will be pleasantly surprised. I'm like, oh, I actually quite like this. It's pretty fun, and I feel like it does a decent job of communicating who these characters were and how they got to be how they are. Like, they did a good job at communicating that some parts of Han's character were always part of his character, like the constant lying about everything, and the trying to schmooze his way out of every situation, and then realizing, oh, I fucked up.
Oh, you fucked up.
But then, some of his, like, hardness and cynicism is learned in the movie, and some people, like I said, are cynical, and they're like, he just shoots first at the end of the movie because that's a meme. But also, no, that makes sense. That's the whole point of the film, is that he learns to shoot that guy first. Like, even though he likes this guy did a lot for him, he's still like, no, you gotta go. Blam. Shoots him before he even gets his gun out there, and you're like, no, this is good. Also, like I said, just the tone and set pieces in that movie were really, really neat. So I'm like...
talking about Skywalker, me, personally, I'm gonna go see it.
Yep.
Because, as I said, like, it looks like it's gonna have cool scenes, and as I said, like, he's a simple man. He just likes cool action scenes and plots that don't go over his head. So,
which is what Star Wars should be. Like,
yeah.
I know some people maybe have overplayed it's a franchise for children, even though, yes, it's it's at its heart is kind of a fairy story.
Yeah.
But it is a big, flamboyant space opera. Like, you should be able to look at a guy, a little wizened old dude in black robes, and go like, he's the bad guy. Him. He did it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he shoots lightning.
So yeah, that was a little bit like, because as I said, I'm not like, I'll never, like, I consider myself a little clever. I don't consider myself particularly smart. Like, you know, I will miss wildly obvious things and I'll pick up on strange little things. So, like, that was one of the issues I had personally had with Last Jedi. It's all like, okay, I know this is supposed to mean something, but I'm not entirely sure fucking what.
Honestly, as a person who tries to pay attention to themes sometimes, I had that same response. It's like, which theme are you trying to sell me here? Like, you literally didn't spend enough time in the movie to sell me on like 3 or 4 themes at once here, so...
Yeah.
It was
but,
one that...
The Last Jedi had really cool action scenes, so I'm like, I'm okay with this.
It's alright. I wish it was better, but it's alright.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, like, looking at the trailer, it's like, alright, like, I don't know exactly what they're going for here, but it looks like we have some cool cinematography, things look cool, there should be some fights, maybe we'll get some answers, I hope. God, I hope. And
but yeah, that's what we got.
We'll go from there.
I know that reviews and previews are coming out for Fallen Order. A lot of people are just calling it, apparently, easier Sekiro, because there's, like, hard bosses, you know, or harder enemies, you know, mini bosses and bosses require you to basically exhaust their stamina before you can really stab them, so it's like the stance break in Sekiro. Okay. And there's, like, traversal and stuff. But also, you've got a lightsaber, so you get to just own most mooks. And I'm like, I'll play that. That sounds fun. If you want to just...
When is that coming out again?
Early November, like in a couple weeks.
Oh god, I'm sorry, Fallen Order. I'll pick you up on sale, but I'm gonna be Death Stranding.
No, it's rough. Oh, I've already got a problem because that was the next thing I was going to talk about was the outer world.
Oh my god, I am trying so hard right now not to buy video games. You don't even understand.
Oh, it's bad. It's real bad, Chief. So I did, in fact, I double checked and like everywhere I found was like, there's no weird glaring errors on PS4 that make it on base PS4 that makes it explode. Just that PS4 Pro and Xbox One X do have like 4K enhancements. But
nice. The
base game runs. And I was like, I'm going to order it. Amazon's like, your order will be delivered sometime between November 8th. And I'm like, okay, Amazon, I expected this, but... So I'm like, okay, I've bought the Outer Worlds, but I don't know when I'm going to get to play it. But it's there. Amazon did do me a solid, though. I ordered some other stuff. Fuck it, I can say it on here. I'll admit it. It's not a secret. I decided to buy Battlefront 2, finally, the new one, because you can get the deluxe physical edition for $20 now on Amazon. So I'm like, well, and what really tipped me over about wanting to buy it was I did some research on it because people were talking about the updates, and I'm like, oh, there truly is no season pass mechanic here. Like, as far as I can tell, all these updates are free. Like, they're still called DLC by the audience, but they're free DLC. So I'm like, well, that's interesting at least. And they did finally add Republic Clone Commandos. So I'm like, oh, dude, I love those guys so much. So I bought it. I'm going to give it a whirl. Originally, Amazon was like, yo, this is not going to be here until November 1st. And I'm like, all right, because it was out of stock when I got it. But then Amazon sent me an email later that day. And I'm like, hey, guess what? We found some in the back. It'll be to you like by Monday. And I'm like, okay. Don't know when I'm going to play that one right away either, because I need to work on Borderlands 3. But I'm building a backlog. So I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to get to Fallen Order. I don't know when I'm going to get to Outer Worlds. I think after we get our Patreon money for the month, I'm going to lock in that pre-order on Death Stranding so I get it right away.
Same.
And just lock it in and be like, okay, if I do one thing this month, I'm playing Death Stranding. And all my other games can fuck off for a while.
See, I'm kind of in the same boat, but my game choices are slightly different. So, as I said, like, I'm kind of like, I'm just putting the Borderlands off to the side, because as much as I like
you're gonna get it on PC when it comes to Steam.
Or something like that, yeah. But Modern Warfare came out, and I've heard okay things about it. A lot of people are talking about the multiplayer, of course, but I'm like, I'm about that story. I actually haven't looked into the reviews of that, but, you know, it's there. Outer Worlds...
I've been wildly avoiding people playing Modern Warfare, because I'm like, I don't want to be spoiled. I'm going to play this eventually.
Yeah, same. Outer Worlds, I heard, came out, and I heard a lot of people saying really good things. A lot of people are talking, like, they say, like, the combat and mechanics are good, but a lot of people are singing the praises of the story and how your decisions affect a capitalist, the capitalism versus versus workers' rights and, all the balances in between them. And I'm like, oh man, that might be an interesting case then.
That sounds really cool.
It sounds really cool.
Well, again, it's Obsidian who did original Fallout, New Vegas.
Yeah.
They do games like that, and I'm just everybody who's been like when I hear review scores, it's 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 9, 9.5, and I'm just oh fuck, it's really good.
I think I need it. I need it.
It's funny because we didn't know this when the time we recorded Let's Talk FGO, but there's a fucking showdown between Liz and Oskabahime about what games are better, and Oskabahime's talking about, you underestimate shut-ins. We want AAA extra long RPGs, and I'm just yeah, I do right about now.
Here's the thing, I want both. I'm greedy. I'm a selfish bastard, y'all.
Well, yeah, we are dying in a hell of gacha of our own making.
Azur Lane. You might hear my Azur Lane in the fuck.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm gonna I'll get all the splash done, but I'm I don't know if I can drive myself to just spend so much time doing the runs.
I'm sorry, Lucky was a looker bastard, and you got the sub on the
No, you got on construction. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
I threw one construction, but the Divergent Chessboard rerun is coming out. Also, we're seeing weird previews. They're going to do some kind of idle theme event where we're getting variants of ships. It's not just apparently it's not just a skin for Admiral Hipper. It's a new Admiral Hipper, and I'm I should hold on to my cubes. On my cubes just in case. I think Idle Laffy is a skin, but I don't know.
I don't know.
They're doing some weird stuff. I think I joked that this is apparently the hour of weird events.
But back on video games, so we have Death Stranding coming up here, first week in November.
Yeah,
and me personally, from a JRPG stance, Trails of Cold Steel 3 just came out also, and I'm if there's one thing I'm looking at myself and if there is one thing I definitely do not have time for, it is a long JRPG right now. Jesus fucking Christ. So I'm staring at my my bank account, and I'm staring at my wishes. I'm no. I was really dumb. I really should not have spent my fucking Outer Worlds money on Musashi. God damn it. That's the big rip, y'all.
I had to wrestle with myself. The other day I was man, I'm kind of hungry. I'm gonna go for some McDonald's. And oh, but I don't. Even if it's only $7 for some chicken nuggets, do I really want to hike up the hill and get McDonald's to spend $7? I could put that money on video games that I can't play yet. Luckily, my last purchase from Amazon of Borderlands 3 was recent enough that I got a $10 credit on Outer Worlds, so I was yes, save myself $10. Thank you, Amazon, for driving my blatant consumerism.
Hey, Amazon is an evil AAA corporation, but hey, it gives you good discounts, and sometimes gets you your shit early.
And to be honest, it's pretty convenient. They're, especially now that it's almost 2020, which holy shit, it's almost 2020, but
oh shit.
We're gonna probably make a lot of jokes about that with Eclipse Phase, because when that first started and when I first started playing it, it was 2009, first of all, I didn't have any fucking money to buy Amazon all the time anyway, but still, we're gonna make a lot of jokes about Amazon deliveries, because heck, if you buy something in Eclipse Phase, if you buy it, the longest it can take, if it's of major complexity or rarity, is 24 hours. And if you order something from Dronazon or whatever, from Comet Express actually is the delivery company, you can get big items, so long as they're not super rare or complex, pretty quick. I think it's actually, I'm in my drive right now. I'll look at the complexity chart.
I'm looking for a pen.
Minor is 2 hours, so you can get a gun in 2 hours, or a radio or something, or a server. There you got it. You can either print it on demand or other stuff. So that we're probably gonna make some jokes about future manufacturing soon. But yeah, so also I'm Pokemon Sword and Shield, that can wait. I don't need another Switch game right now. I'm saving that for December, when I might have to go... when I'm gonna have to go visit my relatives. So I'm I'm gonna hold off on that until I have lots of time to do nothing but, play games and sit on the couch.
Yeah, so... I'm feeling the game struggle right now, and then, of course, our next big battle is gonna be spring of next year. Oh god.
Yeah, because some stuff happened. Last of Us 2 got pushed back a little.
People were asking, why do you think Last of Us 2 got delayed? And they're like, oh, Naughty Dog's putting on that extra polish. And I was like, no! It's because they want to compete with fucking Final Fantasy VII and Cyberpunk 2020 to have the biggest fucking dick and kill my fucking wallet. And people were like, shit, you're right! And everyone started fucking panicking.
I mean, yes, but no. I like Naughty Dog has a habit of like squeaking an extra couple of months there at the end because they make good games. So I do think they are honestly probably adding polish.
Yeah, no, they are. I was just making
the fact that also means they got to compete with fucking Cyberpunk and Final Fantasy. They don't have to compete with Watch Dogs Legion because Ubisoft has delayed all of their games because apparently Ghost Recon Breakpoint was that bad.
I'm not surprised. Like, after seeing Wildlands, I'm all like, guys.
Well, yeah, so apparently it was like Wildlands, but then they added extra mechanics, but they didn't make sure that the people who actually played Ghost Recon cared about those mechanics.
Yeah.
So it did not do necessarily very... some people received it well, but it did not necessarily do very well with the core player base, and... I don't know, I feel like Breakpoint, like, some of this was like, half of this was like, Breakpoint felt like kind of a scapegoat for a lot of press outlets and reviewers to be like, I don't want big macho man shooter modes anymore. Where's my political commentary? When Ubisoft is famous for their our games aren't political stance. So some of it I think was just that they are missing some opportunities with the tone of the game, but also I don't think it was just as appealing as they wanted to be. And in an investor call, Yves Guillemot was like, yeah, we missed the mark. It was a bit of a disaster. It's going to hurt our financial prospects. I think Ubisoft's stock fell by like 20%.
Oh, geez.
And we're going to reevaluate all our games. So we've still got big plans for the 2020-21 fiscal year, but we're going to push some of our stuff back so we can make sure it's polished. And I'm like, on the one hand, cool, that means those games are later. On the other hand, damn, those games are later.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I don't really care about some of the other stuff that got delayed. Like Rainbow Six Quarantine, I'm just like, this seems like a weird idea, Ubi. Though, Gods and Monsters was the title of that one? I think that one got delayed too, which I'm like, well, I mean, I would have looked at it. But mostly I'm like, oh, Watch Dogs Legion, I want to play Old British Grannies.
Everyone wants to play Old British Grannies.
So yeah, we're in a big time of video game stuff and video game news. Is there any real... I'm trying to think, were there any big stuff that we actually care about? Because, Fallout 76 has apparently some shenanigans going on, but we don't play it. We just look at them and go, Bethesda, why? Why would you jump on the bullet for Blizzard and make a story that's going to distract everybody? Because they do. Or how WWE 2K20 is awful, apparently.
Oh my... It's so
buggy, apparently. Like,
the bugs are hilarious, though.
Oh yeah, no, you get a lot of weird stuff, like ropes will freak out, models will freak out, expressions will go crazy, like, you'll get, like, weird texture pops where, like, your eye texture will, like, and snake out of your face. It's crazy. But honestly, I'm like, I don't know. I haven't watched the trailer yet, but apparently, P5S Strikers is a thing that still exists.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be an actual, honest-to-God sequel type game. It's gonna be kind of like, I think, what Arena did for P4, and be like, no, we're gonna continue the story through a slightly different genre, with new characters. So on the one hand, I'm like, I don't know, people who play these types of games are saying that Koei Tecmo has kind of, like, their last couple of releases have not been great. On the other hand, Hyrule Warriors is supposedly, like Lucky will say, it's fairly well solid. And that was with Nintendo as a partner, so...
Yeah, that was also done with Ninja Theory, so...
Yeah,
I don't know.
This is actually KT, so I'm like, oh, I just hope the game doesn't suck. Because you're gonna make me buy it anyway, because it's more P5, but, like, will I enjoy this experience or not is what I'm after. Also, we're getting real close on P5R being released in Japanese, so... that's gonna be a little bit of a danger zone. On the other hand, I will be glad to actually hear what the improvements are. No story details, but, like, I want to hear about new stuff. I don't know. There's... Yeah, we could talk about Gacha a little bit. We should, actually, because Girls Frontline did a big thing. But
they did do a big thing.
I know Azur Lane is talking about how they've just opened up pre-orders for the English release of Crosswave. That's coming sometime next year.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know, seems okay.
And
especially after watching the anime, I'm like, I don't feel like the game is as necessary, but it still could be fun. I'd have to learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
Like what the structure and time to play is, you know? It's like
And
where
if
I
I-
didn't pick up the Kill la Kill game right away, even though I really, really love Kill la Kill, because it was like, it's kind of short. I'm like, I don't want to pay $60 for that if it's just going to be kind of a short experience, you know?
And interesting enough, I think there was something in it. I think they say that, like, you might be, if you buy the game, you'll be able to redeem something in-game, in, like, gacha game, in the mobile game?
Yes, well, for once, we know for sure there's going to be some kind of skin that's going to be available via QR code for the Blu-ray of the anime, which is very
Oh, that's what it
interesting.
was.
I think they may also be doing something similar with the physical release of Crosswave, but I don't know.
I don't know.
So yeah, they're Azur Lane is really on top of their multimedia project.
Mm-hmm.
Real smart.
Real smart. But Girls Frontline, they just did a huge update and added a couple new interesting things.
They also refined the UI again, which I like.
Added more sound effects.
They're constantly improving, and there's some cleaner new looks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But this was a huge fucking update. It was a pain in the ass for everybody to release, but it did add some stuff. So the reason probably why it took so much is because it added a fuck ton of assets because you have a little avatar now. The commander is a character.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get costumes, and dyes, which are another way to monetize things. Because they cost gems. Listen, we've talked before, like, I think every one of these games has their weak point, right? Like,
yeah.
FGO is arguably, like, all these limited servants. You know, the units are limited and you have to use premium currency to get. Azur Lane is the real estate racket. They give you so few gems versus how many units you get, so it's just like, fuck. I almost have to spend real money or discard units to actually have enough space for all these fucking units you're putting out. And Girls Frontline is clearly the costumes and stuff, where it's just like, hey, cosmetics are going to be freakishly expensive or completely random. But the little avatar system is cool, and they've done some fun stuff.
Oh yeah, you can, apparently each of the, pieces, can give, bonuses for your girls, like, either, like, reducing repair time, increasing, bond gain, stuff like that.
Yeah, just little mechanical bonuses to give it a reason and to collect sets, but also it's just a cute thing, because now you can show up in other people's dorms as your Commander Sona.
Mm-hmm.
Your Shiki Sona. And one thing that is interesting about this is you have like I said, a customizable avatar. FGO, for instance, lets you pick genders, but you have pre-established looks based on your Mystic Code selection and stuff, and that kind of makes sense for FGO because Takeuchi is the artist for the main character, so it's like, that's kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you don't have art in Girls Frontline, you have a little customizable sprite. And in Azur Lane, I don't even know what the Shiki-Kan is like. They exist, I guess. Maybe not. You're not in the anime.
I'm going to tell you're just a pretty chill person.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of weird
so
shit
you get a little
happens to you.
Commander Sona, and I decided to be completely inscrutable with mine. So you get to pick your gender between male, female, or question mark. So, and you get rewards. You should set your gender anyway, even if it is just ambiguous, because you get.
Well, yeah, because it gets you the basic outfit.
Gives you the
You're
basic
not
set.
in the...
Yeah. So, I picked question mark gender. I picked the female head, but then I'm wearing male jacket and pants. So just confuse the fuck out of everyone, and the beret because it's great. It's cool. So that was, on the one hand, I'm like, Girls Frontline, you kind of dumped a huge update on anybody that nobody asked for on the people, right? Because there's a lot of fucking data.
Well, that's not the only thing that they updated. They also added something else. I don't know. Still don't know.
Well, yeah, that's the second point. Is that on the one hand, this is much more interactive, and you added new systems. Your comparison was actually very apt when I finally did it. So you've now got the forward operating base. Because in case you forgot, Girls Frontline is kind of post-apocalyptic. Like, not just in, like, your war with the evil drones has caused this, but, like, no, there's been some bad shit.
There's been plagues and shit.
And aliens. And alien robots. Anyway. So now you can, exactly like he compared it to me, you can send your girls out on Fallout Shelter quests. It's exactly like sending Vault Dwellers out of the vault in Fallout Shelter. You pick some dolls, you give them some rations, you send them with a pet, and they come back with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly it seems to be a new kind of currency to get new furniture and cosmetics.
Yeah.
Like, nothing super important, but just a fun little thing. And they have these little radio messages where something funny or depressing happens.
Yeah. Because basically, what happens is basically every time they just you can actually follow your dolls in real time as they travel. And basically, as they go to a new area, they might just get a random encounter of sorts. And the important and rare encounters are the ones where they actually bring you back items. Like everything else in the fucking dormitory, there are upgradable stations. You can upgrade basically the
loot rack.
The loot rack and your loadout rack. Which your loot rack basically lets you hold more treasures because, in a great quality of life, you can just literally set the expiration to just autoplay.
Yep, you can tell it to continuously send them out.
But the loot rack will fill up, and they won't bring it back back, so you have to clear it out occasionally. So you gotta check in occasionally. And the other one, again, I can't remember it, is basically lets you upgrade your exploration team with more T-dolls, more pets, more items they can carry.
Yeah, they can carry more food and stuff.
But again, this costs fucking batteries. Oh shit, that was the other thing.
Oh right, they backpatched in to make the game easier for newer players because apparently they must be on a surge or something. They increased rewards for story chapters. So if you already did story chapters, you got a shitload of backlog. You got batteries, capsules, and combat reports. So many combat reports. Holy shit.
I had over 1,000. I literally got my.
I had like just over 900. I took my number one echelon, who was like, there was one level 100, and I have now all but one level 100, and the last one is like level 96 or something.
Yeah, I took my third echelon, which is the A.R. team with all the A.R. dolls, and they're all level 90 now. They were like level 85, like between like 80.
Yeah, it's a
big deal, and I still have
big honkin' update.
Yeah, but those batteries I use to start upgrading everything, because now with pets being used in explorations, they actually have a mechanical
One of the best things about October.
I'm worried about that because with the forward operating base, there are things called something they haven't really they've kind of played with, I think, back in Deep Dive with T-dolls that have it. And so T-dolls that have advantage can have a better chance of getting loot and whatnot. And there's also such thing as advantage for your pets. So you can get pets, better pets to send out with better loot. So it's just like, they're putting in the work to make this a much more, I don't want to say make this much more a closed circle, I guess I want to say. Where everything is connected to something else. Like,
nothing is useless. Like,
yeah,
your commander costumes offer you small bonuses. Different T-dolls have different uses. Pets have a use when you can't fit them into your dorms because dorms are expensive.
Yeah.
And you can only have one in a dorm at a time, I think.
No, you can have multiples. I've done that.
Maybe I should put some more cats in some stuff. Turn my T-dolls into crazy cat ladies. But unlocking costumes can also unlock special stories and stuff. Et cetera, et cetera. It's all an interconnected system, which is good. And this is just a build-up because we're getting another big event in the second half of the month. Singularity Kids. We're also getting, I'm guessing we're getting neural mods for some of the AR team.
That'd be good.
Because they showed off a new look for M4 and AR-15.
I said, I haven't really got, I have just got back into Frontline after, vanishing for, 3 weeks, so I have to catch back up.
Because they've got a new event, a Halloween event, which
honestly,
isn't awful.
It isn't awful.
It's 4 maps. The last map is still really hard because it's a night map and the boss is stupid strong. But you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to. All you get is a dog. And I looked at this and after I realized that you could farm any map for currency drops, it's only 6 a day, but you can farm literally any map for currency drops.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at it and this just gives me a pet. That's cool, and I'm sure it's irrelevant to the exploring thing, but that's not a must-have. It's not like a doll or anything. This is actually not terrible. I bet it makes the people, we've talked about this before, I bet it makes the people who have super buff, ultra cool echelons, feel good about what they've done because they can actually strong-arm this last map and get the special cosmetic award dog. But
real talk, I did it. I didn't do it for the dog. I did it so I could finish the fucking story.
That's fair.
Because that's the other part. This event, like I said, unlike previous Halloween events where you have to collect costumes to get the story, they just give you the story front up, tied to each map.
Yeah.
And it's kind of long and it's kind of humorous and at the same time serious, but classic Girls Frontline fare. But I wanted to finish it, so that's what I was like. I didn't even check my rewards until I was done. I was like, oh, I get stuff. Woo.
Yeah. But you can do the currency. I've already bought the F.E.A.R skin, because I'm Holy shit, there's a skin in an event currency shop? Sign me the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
These are usually a pain in the ass to get.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also other stuff, like there's tokens and things. There's some great skins that I'm not going to get yet, because Girls Frontline. Wellrods is cute, though. We learned how to pronounce the ship name, but now I forget. But, What's-Her-Face in Azur Lane has a new Halloween skin that is...
Oh god, yeah, I'm...
very thirsty. Camper already killed his wallet to get it, and I'm just like, whoa. Actually, that reminds me, I should remember this, because I was thinking about making that the bed image for the episode, to see if I can get away with this. I should show you this.
Oh, hang on.
Let me see, where am I in Discord? I'll drop this into Patreon chat. That works.
Whoop.
But yeah, as a follow-up to our Religion of Thighs.
Oh yeah, the crotch tattoo.
Yeah, a big collection of some stuff. I'm just like, because I'm reasonably sure it was Fujoshi, but somebody posted this and I'm just like, ha, I'm tempted to make this our bed image. I think we can get away with that, because, like, I don't think an algorithm will get that.
No, they'll just see a bunch of probably tattoos.
And I don't know if non-nerds will get that, wherever YouTube is outsourcing this, so that's probably safe.
Yeah, I guess I do. I guess it is telling of me that I was like, oh, these are all crotch tattoos. I outed myself, damn it.
Well, and anybody who's watching this show would know when they see it.
Tee-hee.
And possibly, thanks to the future past, have been seeing it. Gasp.
Yes.
But yeah, so, gotcha. It's a little busy work, especially with FGO also doing their brand new Halloween here, but at least they're doing stuff that's fun. It's neat.
If not weird.
Yeah, well, hey. It's apparently the time for weirdness. We'll talk more about Saber Wars 2 next week on Let's Take FGO, but that's another event that's like, at least for now, with the pre-release, is like, this is super weird. What are you guys doing? It's not like, oh, this is new and exciting. I'm like, what's your trick here, Nasu? I'm on to you. What are you doing here?
Lucky's official stance on this is what? With a W-A-T.
Yes. I'm like, okay, on the one hand, you made an Ishtar. That's cool. On the other hand, what are you hiding from me? What are you hiding? I don't see a class symbol there. What are you hiding? What are you doing? So I'm like I said, I'm super sus, and we won't find out for a few days. So I'm still okay that we didn't delay the show, because, like I said, it would have just added an extra 30 minutes of Let's Talk FGO that would have just been speculation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we probably could have covered the news in, 5 minutes and been like, what does this mean? Which people can do on their own, on our Discord. So, let's see. Powered through anime, I think. There may have been other stuff I wanted to talk about, but I don't remember it, so it can't be that important.
Lucky's mind is a leaf upon the wind. Look at it flutter.
So, yeah, is there really anything else?
Let's see. Let me think about anime-wise. Nothing really to talk about. That really happened already. Video game-wise, let's see, I'm streaming Resident Evil 6. And during my 4-hour mark, I actually switched over to some FGO roles. That was interesting. So, from what people say, it seemed pretty okay. It just seemed to lag a little bit in parts. So who knows? I might take that up later. I'm probably gonna stream again after this. Let's see here. Video games. Thinking about getting Iceborne for months. Oh yeah, that's another game I am having the eternal struggle with is Monster Hunter Iceborne, because we're actually starting to get a budding community of Monster Hunters in our Discord. They're actually starting to meet up and hunt together and stuff.
Yeah, they've gone from just talking about Monster Hunter all the time to actually yo, but what if we hunted monsters together? And now they do it.
Yeah, and as someone who also, and they play on some of them play on PC, some of them play on PS4, and I do have Monster Hunter for the PS4. I've added a couple of them to my friends list, because I do plan to go out, but I just haven't picked up Iceborne yet, which is, kind of the thing I need.
Though, hopefully, I think Sony has said they're going for crossplay, finally, so you never know, hopefully.
We never know!
And also, I'm like, I know there's more PS5 stuff coming up, but that's not in stone, other than just holiday next year. I really hope they pull off complete backwards compatibility, because I do remember a thing I wanted to talk about. And I don't know if you want to give your overall thoughts on F.E.A.R, because that was also a big deal that was a big deal that you were in the middle of last week, and then you suddenly finished.
Yeah, suddenly.
But that, playing that era of shooters made me really miss Killzone, but my PS3 still has its overheating problem, and I don't think I can do anything about that in my current positioning setup. Because I would have to, put it in a place where it can be properly ventilated and cooled, and I don't think I have the floor space for that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, And I could not do like trust me, my family has always been keen on the whole, bring your own lunch kind of thing, bring snacks. So we've got plenty of ice blocks. I could try and rig some cooling on this thing, but that requires setup. So I'm like, God, I really hope they get true backwards compatibility. And like, I would be tickled pink if a PS5 would run not just on my PS4 back catalog, which I will totally have by the year 2020, the end of 2020. There will still be shit I haven't played.
Mm-hmm.
But also if it would run my PS3 and my PS2 back catalog too, that would be great. Okay, thanks. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe if it's not all games, but if it's just a lot of first party stuff that I happen to have, that'd be cool. Or for the love of God, Gorilla. I know you're making Horizon 2 probably, which is a game I need to finish sometime also. But speaking of games finishing, but like could you re-release the Killzone trilogy? Maybe not on the same console that it originally came out on? Because I don't know if you know this, Lucky, but they did release a Killzone trilogy, which is 1, 2, and 3. It was just basically a 3-disc set that was all 3 games for the PS3 again.
Okay.
And I'm like, alright, that's a neat effect, but boy howdy, I really wish you guys had put that effort into releasing maybe an HD collection on PS4. Just saying. Don't know.
That's what the cool developers do.
Because that was the thing, right? Like, I was able to play it for like 30-ish minutes before my PS4 was like, red light blinking, we're too hot. I'm like, dicks. Thought I cleaned you out, but I guess it's probably still too confined for it to shed heat properly. Because it's sharing space with my PS4 in a TV. I don't even know what you call it. As a TV cabinet, I guess? A home entertainment center kind of thing?
Yeah.
So it's a little cramped and it gets very warm in there. And even with AC running, it's still not super cool here all the time. So it's hot. It's not like permanently fucked over. My only other thing would be to like buy a new PS3 and then try and figure out and replace my old HD in it. Because I did buy a new hard disk with more space, so but then I'd have to make sure it fits and all that stuff. I'm like, that's a lot of pain in the ass just to play old PS3 games that I probably don't have time to play anyway. But yeah, so I would appreciate some backwards compatibility. But yeah, so F.E.A.R, you actually completed the F.E.A.R trilogy.
Yeah, so it was actually quite sudden. I actually wasn't expecting this. I was expecting to actually get a little bit more mileage out of the F.E.A.R series because I don't know, I guess that's just me making assumptions of the series, because basically F.E.A.R 1, felt like it was a thing. F.E.A.R 2 felt it was pretty long. F.E.A.R 3 felt kind of short. So, I don't know I don't know how everyone else who's beaten F.E.A.R the F.E.A.R trilogy felt, but I totally felt sympathetic towards Alma towards the end, as Lucky is wont to do, for he is a man.
Honestly, I really got that impression from F.E.A.R 3 that they were like, it was a little weird because you literally in the same stream finished 2 and then went to 3. Yeah. So it was a little jarring, but they were definitely fully spinning back into that.
Yeah.
If I could for a second say, watching it, F.E.A.R 1 seemed like it's creepy, but in the end you feel kind of bad for Alma because of reasons that are dropped on you in the end. But then F.E.A.R 2 is no, Alma's creepy. She's gonna get you. And then F.E.A.R 3 is Alma's just misunderstood.
Well, that's you say that kind of jokingly, but it's not so much misunderstood, but Alma, the way I interpret it is Alma wanted to be she wanted to be a woman, live
well, yeah, she wanted to be more normal, more typical.
Yeah, she wanted
freaky.
Yeah, in F.E.A.R 1, you see her as a kid, she's fucking with you, being mischievous, playing pranks, almost killing you, but in another interpretation, you can just look at that as the actions of a mischievous child wanting attention. F.E.A.R 2, Alma's been released and she's grown up, and now she's kind of playing the idea of, maybe a young adult woman, trying to fall in love, win the affection of her, and, eventually, getting together with them, which is her, but it's just colored with her completely scary and maniac obsession with Beckett. And in the third one, it's Alma, becoming a mother and actually getting to, hold and have her kid, which was something that was, literally taken away from her when she had her first 2 kids at the age of 15, when she woke up from a forced coma. So the way I've understood, like, this is my personal interpretation, I should say. So, like, because everyone gets something out of it differently. Is Alma was trying to live her life as a normal girl, and reach, it's like God, fuck, ghosts. Last, like,
well, yeah, she is literally a spooky psychic ghost lady. She is her last will. That's all she has is her lingering desires,
wills and regret, and that's what I got out of that.
And honestly, considering she's got a lot of that like Ringu spooky ghost girl aesthetic going on, I wouldn't be shocked if this was inspired by like Japanese horror tropes, which is that is how unreal angry ghosts in Japanese folklore work. Is like they are powered by the hate and regret of this world, and they will poltergeist your shit up.
Yeah. And, that's the lens I viewed Alma through. Now, again, I'm not saying what she did was necessarily right. As you said, you can hear me screaming through a lot of, at the end of F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 3, it's like, Mom, stop! We don't need to kill humanity!
Still keep my stuff here! Even though my brother psychically stole my guns and then became a spooky psychic ghost himself. God damn it. That was a great turnaround. They tried to do some interesting stuff still in F.E.A.R. 3 with, like...
Yeah, they did. They did, in F.E.A.R. 3, if you guys do not know, has a point and rank up system. Basically...
in general, F.E.A.R. 3 seems much more arcadey than the other two.
Oh, it definitely is. Basically, you do things like rack up kills, stay in cover, do all this, like, crazy stuff. You get points. From those points, you rank up, and at the end of each level, you are given a score, and whichever of the two, which is Point Man or Fettle, does better, they are giving Favorite Son. This happens, there's I think 5 different categories, and at the end, all of these points are totaled up, and whoever comes out wins the most categories is determined the winner and the final character, and they, get their victory and their ending. I, of course, was playing by myself with Point Man, because who else would I fucking be? And so, of course, Point Man won. Again, I do enjoy the fact that despite all this time has come back, he's still just known as Point Man. Even in all documents referencing it, he's just Point Man. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's funny. They gave Fettle a name, but
they gave Beckett a name. But
Beckett was just a dude.
Beckett. The thing about F.E.A.R. 2 that kind of killed me is Beckett was literally just a device to get Alma pregnant and propel us into F.E.A.R. 3.
Who knows with there were years between them with video game writing. Maybe he wasn't originally conceived as all that. But yes, he is a subject that Alma pursues. He plays up the displacement horror of it because, in the second one, for that, the way that F.E.A.R. 2 is structured, it doesn't make as much sense because as Point Man, all this shit already. You're accustomed to this kind of thing. So with Beckett, they were able to kind of take the wheels off because... not only could they have Alma react to you in different ways, but they could have your secondary supporting characters react in different ways.
Yeah.
And so you could have kind of that fresh experience again with a all new, shiny, smooth Alma.
Yeah.
Who loves to get up in your business and you have to mash buttons. Because it's 2009, we mash buttons now. Quick time.
QTE. So, here's the thing. I think out of the 3, though, I like 2 the best. Not because of Beckett, though, because my eternal love will be for Point Man in his need of drugs. But overall, I feel 2 kind of hit all the points I kind of wanted. Because 3, I liken it to Dead Space. 1, very spooky, but kind of basic, has interesting themes and whatnot. 2 is where they refine it, try to make it a little bit better, but maybe get a little weird with the story. And then 3 is they kind of try to make a mass market grab at some bunch of weird shit. Yeah, they tried to
figure out how to make this even bigger, better, faster. Which, like I said, it
kind of falls flat.
Yeah, F.E.A.R. 3 is trying too hard to be Call of Duty.
Yeah, as I said, it definitely wants you to, do, shoot fast, go fast, because,
on the one hand, the cover sticking system, if you'd had that in, F.E.A.R. 2 or F.E.A.R. 1, that would have been cool if you could, literally hug walls and not just do the weird lean, but, more properly corner peek and stuff.
Well, I don't know. Like as I said, like this is the thing. Like I actually think I would have preferred just the peak and lean in both Fear 2 and 3.
Well, yeah, and
honestly.
also you were on PC, so
Yeah,
maybe that fits the aesthetic better. That's the thing. Fear 1 was 100% a PC shooter that was later ported to consoles. 2 and 3 were designed with consoles in mind, and 3 was designed, I think, by a slightly different studio. So it's like it's a much more arcadey game. Which, on the one hand, if you realize that like fuck, we're never going to top the end of Fear 2, that's what you make sense. You're like, well, then let's just get weirder and more sci-fi and more gory.
Yeah, like as I said, Fear 3 kind of moves away from the spookums.
It
like,
alternates, it alternates between endless waves of bad guys as you crouch behind chest-high walls.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
literally.
Hey, guess what? When, at least as my interpretation of this was, when you crouched behind them, you, the player character, Point Man, don't become chest-high, unfortunately. Because it felt like you got shot a lot even though you were in cover. I think there was some bullet penetration mechanics.
I'm not sure.
Also, no matter what you crouched behind, it felt like if you could see a guy, he could see you and shoot you, even when you're like as in cover as you could be.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know, I don't want to call you out or anything and be like, oh, dude, your eyes are terrible. Like, I don't know what your necessarily your display settings versus the stream were. I did seem like there were a couple times where just enemies were not obvious enough to you.
Yeah, no, that happened. That definitely happened a couple times.
Because there were points where I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, well, obviously I can't tell you because even with ultra low latency, it's too slow to be like, dude, there was a guy right there. But there were a couple times where mentally or out loud in my chair, I was like, oh, dude, there was a guy right there, and then shooting, and like, where the fuck am I getting shot from? No, he was right there, kind of. But I'm like, I don't see what you see. So like I said, I don't want to call you out as just having bad eyes. So I'm like the game could be a little cleaner about that. That's something that was, like you said, was good about Fear 2 was when you did slow-mo, bad guys and stuff got highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot more HUD stuff in Fear 2, which kind of helped improve over Fear 1, which was a PC-style shooter, so it didn't necessarily have a lot of that. But also, it was, 2005, so everything kind of looked kind of cruddy, so it was like, this blob is moving, he must be an enemy.
See, here's the thing, Fear 2, I felt as visually awesome Fear 3 was, I felt Fear 2 popped a lot more because I didn't feel like when I was in the prison, everything's kind of gray and brown, and my enemies are gray and brown.
Yeah, I think the problem was that Fear 3 was too much a product of its time.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly when it was out, but that would have been probably in the Call of Duty Modern Warfare era, so everything was sepia-toned.
Yeah.
There's no more health system, it's like I like to joke, strawberry jam. Just,
oh,
I got shot, give me a second, I gotta wipe the strawberry jam out of my eyes.
Yeah, on one hand, I don't mind the strawberry jam system, because it lets you encourages a kind of run, gun, stop.
Right, you were able to be a little bit more mobile, but also it felt like sometimes the game was still trying to be Fear and was like, dude, you should relax a little and stay in cover. But it's like, but is that better? And honestly, I couldn't tell just watching, because there were times when I was like, man, if I was doing this, I would slow down and stay back and camp a little bit. But other times I'm like, it felt like when you played it slow and tried to ford up, you still got shot from every direction, so...
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing to watch.
Yeah.
Check them out. We got the whole thing.
Yep, so, as I said, I'm glad I finished Fear 3, as I said,
Well, and another point to talk about Fear 3 was that we mentioned the multiplayer. Specifically, it had an early asymmetric co-op.
Oh, yeah.
Playing Fettel as a psychic ghost is different than playing Point Man as a gun shoot man.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a neat concept, but I'm like, is that really what you want to do in your core sequel? Because I can say this about Killzone, for instance. As far as I remember, Killzone 2 to Killzone 3, those are directly connected games, and they're very similar. It's just
apparently, yeah, there was almost a year gap between in game between Fear 2 and Fear 3. So I don't know. Shit got weird. Technology got weird too. I'm like, where are all these new guns and mechs coming from, guys?
Yeah, Armacam produced a lot of weird tech, like phase commanders. They were trying to make Fettel again was the problem. That was a thing that was very iconic about Fear 1 was Fettel rambling to you in his raspy voice.
I do love Fettel's
which comes back in 3 because he's a ghost now. He just has to hang around you and shit talk you.
Yep. I do like the visual distinction as he has the bullet wound in his head.
Right,
just
that's his final impression.
Yep.
But also, in 2, they had that one, like, Alma was obviously very spooky and iconic, but she didn't talk to you much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe a little whisper here. But that, I don't remember his name, but that one hard-ass black bag guy from Armacham, he was great, just because he was almost hilariously out of place.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, I am dealing with spooky shit, and he's like, I want this guy dead. Why isn't he dead? By the way, I'm gonna leave and let you two schmucks handle him. And he's like, the next time he sees you, why isn't this guy dead yet? It's because you left him with 2 schmucks, you idiot. Like, I literally think he went through, like, 3 guys telling them to stay here and stop you while he went to go do the thing.
I do, like, that is one of those things that are like, you just saw me, like, I just went through, like, maybe almost 100 guys, and you think these 2 guys are gonna fucking stop me?
And honestly, that's another thing that was really good about, I think, I don't feel like a lot of the writing was as good in F.E.A.R 3 with some of the incidental dialogue. Like, I mean, Face Commander was kind of funny, but that was an ironic kind of thing, like, not an intentional. He's trying to be a hard ass to you, too, and you're just like, dude,
I got a
I'm
shield.
Point Man. You don't know what I did to get here in the last 5 minutes, let alone this year, kind of thing.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, okay, here's my bit, like, I gotta mention this, because I mentioned it, and it triggered me. The thing I love most about F.E.A.R 3 was the fucking shield. Okay?
Yeah, you fucking cheese that. Yes, they added some new weapons, some of which were fun. The funnest was, after you died so many times fighting those guys, you realized, oh shit, I can pick up their shield gun.
Yep.
And, it's kind of like a Call of Duty riot shield.
Yeah, it's a riot shield. You only get, like, the base, like, I think, submachine gun with it.
Yes.
But I was fine with that, because I was like, okay, so it's basically basically treated as a heavy weapon. You know, you can't swap weapons. You just either have it or you don't. And I was like, oh, I gotta save ammo. Can I, like, melee with this? And you just do a shield bash. And I was just like, oh, I know what I'm doing for the rest of the game.
Right, because here's the thing. We talked about how the cover system wasn't perfect. Like, they tried, wasn't perfect. This was. This was just, if you point it at the enemy, they will not penetrate it, and you just have to make sure they don't get behind you, because your peripheral is fucked.
Yeah.
And boy, howdy was your peripheral fucked. I literally got a headache watching you roll around with that shield in that tiny window. I'm like, oh, this is like, this is giving me the wiggles. Ooh. Like, I had to, like, look away and just listen to you for a while.
Like, I shield bashed so many enemies. I've shield bashed fucking bosses.
Yeah, you beat a boss with a shield. You gotta be a fucking courier. You did it twice, because the first time you just kept smacking him, and then he exploded at the end, and you died.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know they self-destruct. So, like, that was one of the things. It's like, I did not feel like, as needed as that was, I felt like the game shouldn't have been its cover system shouldn't have been so broken that it needed it. Because, like, as I said,
the game is very high speed, very arcadey, like, with the points and stuff and the challenges. And, like, some parts were interesting, like, for the F.E.A.R franchise, like, the suburban parts. Those were like, this is different. This is very unsettling, as you, like, explored what we called Hellmart. Oh, because you're, like, just in a fucking Costco or something.
Like, I honestly liked, like, I think Hellmart was probably one of my favorite sections, honestly.
No, it was really good. I didn't like how the cultists were stupidly strong. They were tougher than some of these mercenary dudes in body armor, though. But still, they tried. They had to, like, keep up the risk to it. But it was... and the fucking guys who just threw butcher knives at you was so silly. It was so dumb, because they just made the same sound. Yeah. My brother's just like, yeah, and just thunk, thunk. Who's throwing knives at me? You're like, you're not even distressed, you're just pissed off. Who's doing that? Blam! Shoot his face off. But the rest of the aesthetics of that place were great.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, even just when you were
going through the electronics, going through the electronics section and all the TVs on, and you just see people going through the TVs. I was like, that was great.
Yeah, when it was like a Hall of Mirrors type bullshit. But also, I thought these suburban elements were pretty weird and freaky, like, as you're doing house-to-house fighting in these, like, suburban row homes, and just they're all creepified.
Oh, yeah. No, the only thing... the suburbs are kind of a low point for me, because that's where I think I had one of my the toughest fights. That's the problem is that section ended with the mech fight, which sucked a lot. Yeah. Let me just play Ring Around the fucking Rosie.
Like, yeah, the game did that a couple times. That's clearly what they wanted you to do.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't really know how you could have done that better.
Yeah. But, I don't know. Like I think Fear overall is a decent story. They leave it open. Well, with Point Man anyway. I don't know. It's two separate endings. I don't know which one is officially canon. I don't fucking know.
Well, if it was a thing, it would probably be the Point Man one. But who knows? Because I don't know who even made Fear.
Oh, I thought I knew. Now I can't remember.
I will check.
But I'm happy with it. Like
developers, Monolith.
Oh, it's Monolith.
Original developer. Was developed by Monolith, but then also I believe Timegate was the Fear 3.
Monolith is actually in my state.
So
they also did the fucking Lord of the Ring games. What was it?
Oh no, okay. So Timegate produced the 2 expansions, I think. And then they went bankrupt.
Oh. Well,
did Monolith also do Fear 3?
I think they did.
No, they did not.
Oh, they did not.
I only see Fear 2, so that's probably why it's different. So is Day 1 who did Fear 3? Yes. Okay. So they did they did the console ports of Fear, and then they did Fear 3. And then they got changed to Wargaming Chicago Baltimore, and they make World of Tanks now. That's all they do.
Oh, I didn't know this. Monolith actually did the Condemned series too. Yes.
Apparently WB has them working on Middle-earth games forever now.
I cry. I wouldn't mind revisiting.
So wow, fuck, these guys did The Matrix Online. Wow. High five, guys. But they did Condemned 1 and 2. They did Fear 1 and 2. Then they did Gotham City Imposters, which is some weird multiplayer thing. But then they did Guardians of Middle-earth, which was a MOBA. And then Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War. So I don't know if they're going to make a third one of those. Hey, Monolith, if WB will let you, because that's the thing. In 2009, which would be right after Fear 2 came out, their publisher switched from Vivendi to
Warner Bros.
Yeah, right? WB Games. Yeah. Oh, okay. So Area Games did that. There was a free-to-play Fear Online, but its servers were shut down in 2015 due to lack of support. But yeah, so Fear's been a sleeping franchise. I don't know. Like, here's the thing we said. The first one looks kind of like here's the thing. Fear 2, it's like 10 years old. It still looks okay. Like, you're like, this is a modern-looking game.
Yeah.
Like, on PC and stuff, and you were able to run everything at, like, ultra high. Even at high settings, Fear 1 looks like dog shit. And, like, you can't hold that against a game from 2005.
Nope.
But it's still true. So, I don't know. They could probably, like, do a full-blown HD remake of Fear. And, like, I don't know. I don't know would people appreciate the same style, but, yeah, Monolith, you're not... I joke, you're not doing anything, he says, when they've released, Well, I don't know. There was 3 years between Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, so I don't know if how fast they're doing stuff is. But hey, if you want to take a break from Lord of the Rings, people like Fear. I don't know. That seems like a weird thing when you get moving around with the big game developers. They don't put you on like franchises that made you big. Like Guerrilla hasn't been making even more kill zones. The part of that might just be because I think Shadowfall kind of underperformed. It's kind of weird.
Mm.
I don't know much about it, and I don't know. Maybe I should pick it up. It's probably cheap, but I don't know if it'll scratch the Killzone itch or not.
Who knows?
Is there a nail gun? Is there a lightning gun? Like that's literally why I was thinking about it, because I was just thinking about because Killzone gives you some, considering its aesthetics are like weird space World War. Like they give you some fun guns to play around with. But Guerrilla seems, as far as I know, locked into Horizon Zero Dawn now. And Monolith apparently is like, no, you make Lord of the Rings now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, WB, I guess you do own multimedia projects. I don't know, technically WB is the parent company is ultimately the parent company of Rooster Teeth, so who knows, they could do something dumb with that.
Mm.
By the way, yes, if you guys don't know that, Rooster Teeth got bought out, but like not in like a weird way, but just like Full Screen agreed to buy them and fund them by Full Screen Entertainment, which is ultimately owned by Warner Brothers, which is why you may have seen them blow up over the past couple of years. Like, they released their own Batman collection because Warner Brothers also has the rights to Batman. Like, they've worked on a lot bigger games. Fuck, I should learn. Why should see who Smite's connected to? That's blowing some people's mind that the Ruby Girls are going to be in Smite. But then I showed people a video from like 4 years ago, which when Rooster Teeth had an inter-office Smite tournament. I'm like, no, these kids have been tight with Smite for a while.
Yeah.
I do know that WB Japan handles their distribution of Ruby over there, which is probably why they got a for real Japanese dub with serious actors, which confuses some people also. But anyway, they're going to do another season of that, and they're going to annoy me because they're going to do the Rooster Teeth thing, and they're going to physically enter an ad for the new season in front of every video, which is always weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to do that. Like, I don't like to make videos dated because I'm myself a binge watcher. I will go back and watch a lot of episodes in a series and be like, dude, it's like 2019 now. Why did you think that, like, sticking an ad for your new movie that came out several years ago would last? It's just annoying now. Though, another thing is, we've talked about this, like, where you need to catch up with Ruby. They have started doing a thing where they just release the seasons as big, long videos on their website and YouTube, so...
Ooh.
We just need to sync those up, and you can get your binge on. But alrighty, we've gone for about 2.25 hours. We talked about F.E.A.R. And that was our, like, last burst, so...
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's, like, any closing thoughts.
I don't think so. I'm a little sleepy.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay, well, we'll just wrap up then.
Mm-hmm.
This episode of What's Up continues to be longer than the episode of Let's Talk FGO this week.
That's how we do.
Padding. Anyway, so is the usual business. Hey, if you're watching this on YouTube and you like this video, give it a like. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section down below, or check out our Discord. The link is, as always, in the description, or on our channel page. Join our conversation there. You can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That'll get you all the latest videos. And of course, even if you're already subscribed, considering that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video exactly, right away. Gives you a little alert on your phone, on your computer, wherever. On your wax cylinder. No, I don't know if YouTube actually does notifications via wax cylinder. No promises. That's not a legally binding statement. But, you know, especially with shows like What's Up, which can sometimes get posted at weird hours because they take forever to edit and render. You know, you never know when you might want to be like, oh, this just came out. And, of course, like it says at the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. You get access to the episode early in audio format. Downloadable right away as soon as it's done editing. No need to wait for rendering or uploading or any of that nonsense. You know, free of any YouTube ads or whatever. Just $1 a month. Real cheap. And, you know, helps us out. Helps us grow. But, of course, you can support us just by watching.
Ta-da.
Watching all the episode. Watch time is great. Watch more episodes. You know, go back in time. We're wrapping up, so the end card will probably magically appear at some point. Check out whatever videos are linked in that. Because I do that. I try to remember to do that for all our videos. Is stick the ending slide in, which has further video links, so you can consume more.
Consume more.